He's doing our move.
Right?
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That is your girl Adara in the pinstripes, and I am Sharif in what? I said pinstripes. Ram. Get it together. I'm not colorblind, even though that's fine too. Yes, Yannick, what's up, my man? Easy Trader, Cesar Sandoval. I don't know why I said it like that. I just wanted to. Matthew Booth. We got Mikel TR, Benson, Scott H, small cap trader extraordinaire, baby. Let's flipping go 98. I love that name, my man. Keep sending messages in the chat so I keep calling you out because that's one hell of a name. Naps, Darwin, Covalence. What are we talking about? Bond? Covalent bonds? What is this?
Why
chemistry, Adara?
Different kind of bonds for this show because we were talking about bonds.
Very good point. Zion Lala. What's up, my man Zion? We got PC. We got Andrew Chow. We got Ronaldo as well as NECA. What's up to you, too? We got Mahash Mahat as well as Ralph Woodward and Christopher Holcomb, the Piper, joining us as well. Good day to you, too, sir. That's very, very cockney of you. And we got the one as well as Jose Santos 90. Good morning, Adair.
Good morning. How are you this fine Tuesday?
I'd be okay. Nice weather outside. Not too much humidity. Decent sun. How about yourself?
I am all right. The weather is good. I am happy. I have had a couple trades. I had one Tesla short. This was short-changed myself on this one. Got involved here. I liked this topping tail candle. What I wanted was 247s. I noticed we tried to pause at 246.70. We had an inability to go higher at the time, which short wasn't able to get out fast enough, unfortunately. But you know what? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Then I get long, though, because I see, hey, we can't bounce off 247. We're bouncing off 247.20s to say, Adara, you want that smoke. Took 30 pennies on it, so not as much as unfortunately was lost in the first trade, but you know what? You got to go with what you see, go with your gut. I also had an NVIDIA scalp, which I want to talk about because, basically what happened was I wanted 120. I got involved, I don't know what my average on this was. I would guess it's somewhere around 123.20s. I got involved initially 22s, but I forgot I was trying to add earlier at 123.18s, and I was adding because we kept bouncing off 15s. That was the thesis for the trade, right? Then I get in, I'm like, oh, you know what, Adara, maybe this is actually lower highs. So I scalped everything out at 28s. Could have probably gotten slightly more from it, but I wasn't comfortable in the trade anymore. And as Sean said, you have to have confidence, you have to trust yourself, you have to have faith in what you're seeing and stick with that. So that's what's happening here on NVIDIA. Don't have any other reads in this one right now. I think I'll probably stick to scalping because I feel like that's where I've been more comfortable as of late and as in general. AMD, though, our good pal AMD, a skosh rangy, not like super clear, right? But we have these lower highs, we have higher lows. I have no qualms about playing this at range. I'm slightly qualmless. I say slightly because someone in the chat once referred to AMD as the Widowmaker. I agree. I think you can have great days with this name. You can also, when I say you, I'm talking about myself here. You can have some roof little days with AMD as well. So AMD can make you scream at it. So we're gonna have to see how this goes on AMD. But what are you? I know there's one name you might have been looking at taking a bite into earlier.
Yeah, but we said I'm going to stay away from this one today, Derek, because this has been, the bane of my existence for the last week and a half, whatever. But it's all good. That's only intraday. In the long-term portfolio, it's been a good one. And I'm talking about AAPL. Apple was single-handedly the reason I was red 3 of the 5 days last week. So I've just kind of done this informal thing where I stay the hell away from it. No, I'm just joking. Apple's on the way up right now. It's been doing the dance with no pants with 225 essentially all morning. It did breach 225, albeit very momentarily, 225.14. But it was a quick wick and a nice retracement back into the volume weighted average price at 224.25. So AAPL on the way up, still very much an inside day. Well, not technically an inside day because the IB low did breach the low of yesterday, but we are definitely very much not doing a whole lot, up 0.45. Microsoft also moved up there, off 444s into 446, looking to stay within the range here. Microsoft's been within in a bit of a range all day, but I'm not going to go through all the Mag 7 right now. I just wanted to say essentially that I'm looking at Amazon and Tesla. The reason is Amazon's very strong, Tesla's very weak. So we know Tesla reports today after the bell. Looks like maybe there is some offloading here in anticipation of maybe some bad news. No idea. I know that there's going to be commentary on the Model 2 or whatever it's going to be called. There's going to be commentary on Optimus. And most notably, there's going to be commentary on the robo-taxi. And that's why we started selling off on Tesla rather than going up into the right, which is what we were doing until Elon came out and said the robo-taxi was going to be delayed until the fall as opposed to this August date over here that they were supposed to reveal it. So keeping an eye very much on Tesla, very much on Amazon. They seem to be the most directional of the Mag 7 names with some decent ones ranging here, but we'll get to that in a hot minute. We do have a lesson, of course, and we're talking about breakaway gaps all day today, baby. We're going to be talking about gaps in general this week and next week. Really going to take our time to actually learn how to use it, what the techniques are, and the different types of gaps so we can just cross our T's and dot our I's there. All right, so traders, gather around, figuratively, of course. Today, we'll delve into the exciting world of breakaway gaps, potential signals for those explosive price movements. Goes both ways, upside and downside. Get it, Adara?
Thank you.
Breakaway gaps. So here we're talking about, let's just introduce the whole concept of breakaway gaps, and I'll show you what they look like on the chart. So imagine a price chart trapped within a trading range. You've got that 200, formerly 200 on Apple, and that 165 on the bottom. So about $35 worth of range, right? Suddenly, a gap appears, propelling the price above resistance or below support. Again, goes both ways. That's the breakaway gap, the one that breaks above key areas of support or below key areas of resistance. A significant jump in price with no trading activity essentially in between, suggesting a potential breakout of the established trend. And here's what it looks like. So when we are trending down and making lower highs, you can see here that you have lower highs vis-a-vis this trend line. But you also have generally a consolidation period. Sure, you're making lower highs, but you're not aggressively moving up like you do here in the uptrend. So that's the breakaway gap. And most significantly, it's accompanied by above average volume. Now, above average here is going to be a comparison to what the volume bars around it look like. It doesn't have to be, a 5-year average. It's about what has it traded lately. So this is the bullish breakaway gap. Conversely, the bearish breakaway gap, we're making higher lows, we're doing great, we're printing. All of a sudden, overnight, bad catalyst comes in. The next day, boom, down and to the right. And now we start a new trend rather than going higher highs and higher lows. Now we're making lower highs and lower lows. So that's essentially what a breakaway gap looks like. So many different variations. I'll get to them. I have a lot of charts for you guys, and we'll try to see exactly what it looks like in different situations. So why do they matter? What's so important about breakaway gaps that we have to spend an entire day on them? Well, first and foremost, they could, be here. They could be foreshadowing trend breakouts. So breakaway gaps often signal a break from a consolidation period or a general trend reversal. A gap above resistance or below supports indicates bullish momentum or bearish momentum if it's below that support line. And it's also important because usually it brings increased volume with it. So breakaway gaps are typically accompanied by a surge in trading volume, signifying strong buying or selling pressure behind the price move. And there's also a very important psychological impact. Because it's such a big move and because it starts a trend and because there's so much volume, it has a way of bringing in new market participants. New market participants means new money. That's important for the market because if it's recycled money, you usually only have like a top that you can get to. But new market participants means new money coming in, means you're propelling the trend, whether they're higher or lower. And again, here's a really good look at what it looks like to come out of a consolidative phase. Now, there's a number of things here that we can take into consideration, aside from, the consolidation, the breakaway gap, and the outsized volume. What we can see here is that the moving average, and I don't know which moving average this is pointing up. So we already have kind of some indication that the trend may be looking higher here, okay? And here is a really good one. I'm sorry it's a little pixelated, but I think it makes the point. This is Starbucks back in, it looks like September, what is this? September, yeah, this is back in 09. Wow, that's a hot minute ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're trading, you got a tight trading range over here, but most notably, again, the moving average pointing up, right? And you have a clear area of resistance on the top, a clear area of support on the bottom, then boom goes the dynamite. You get that breakaway gap and you get the accompanying outsized volume. So those are the two things. What's going on over there, Katina, man? The Katina man is short Tesla at these levels, so keep your eye on the Katina man. He's long NVIDIA at the same time.
There's something on PDD.
You want to take it?
Yeah, PDD getting a volume side. Oh, shout out to Sean in the Dollar Club. Ooh. But also, PDD, thank you, Darwin, for letting us know about this. Temu sales apparently in the first half of the year getting to $20 billion, which is above the 2023 total. So this circulating here around PDD going from red to green on the day with this nice volume spike. Guys, just wanted to put that out there.
All right. So Starbucks. What was that headline?
PDD.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Yeah. So there you go. You get that consolidative move sideways, and then you get confirmation of the trend by gapping up above that clear level of resistance, and you get the outsized volume. And most notably, too, you continue to make higher highs and higher lows. So when we talked about yesterday about looking for possible fizzling out, we talked about, the trend not really having that momentum to continue. In this particular case, you can see it does. And this is LinkedIn's chart before it got acquired by Microsoft. And you can see over here, this is 12 and 13. Again, very consolidative, sideways move, but you got the 50 exponential pointing upward. Then you get that big boy gap right in February 1st or 2nd or whatever the hell it was. And you can see over here, we have outsized volume. It's not the same type of outsized volume that we saw in some other charts, but as you compare it to its surroundings, it definitely stands out. So you have that check mark beside it. So there is obviously the ever-present danger of false breakouts, right? So you have that key area of technical resistance or key area of technical support. You gap up above, you gap up below, but then there's no trend continuation. And this is the problem sometimes with these gaps. So sometimes breakaway gaps, sadly, can be misleading. The price might quickly reverse direction, creating what we know to be a false breakout. Here are some methods to help you identify false breakouts. Limited follow through. So if the price struggles, for example, after the breakout, to maintain the momentum, after creating that breakaway gap and fails to make new highs and lows. So like we saw on the previous chart over here with LinkedIn, it gapped up, but it continued to make that trend. Higher highs, higher lows. If it doesn't do that, if it moves sideways or starts coming back down, looking like it wants to fill the gap, that is one signal. So you're looking for continued momentum after the initiation of the breakaway gap. If it fizzles out, comes right back down. Apple, what's going on?
Yeah, the information reporting they're working on a foldable iPhone that could be released as early as 2026.
I knew it.
And they reached out to suppliers in Asia to make components for the device. Volume, decent volume spike comparatively here, pushing higher, breaking out of that 225 area. I just want to to interrupt you, but lots of
that's way more important. Here, guys. I knew that the foldable iPhone was coming. It's just a matter of time. What's that, Ram? You don't like it? Ram says it's gross. All right, I'm making a prediction.
Oh?
I'm making a prediction.
Oh?
In 2.5 to 3 years, Ram will have a full-fledged foldable iPhone. Just saying.
2 to 3 years is fair. Okay.
Yeah. The Katina man wants one.
We'll find out.
Neil, how do you feel about these foldable phones? I like them. He likes them. I like them too, man. I'm got to tell you, I'm not really a big fan of having this chunk of thing in my pocket. Yeah, but those are Samsung, Ram. Those are not Apple. Yes, I think Apple does a better job. All right, Ram, I'm doing a lesson over here, bro. Oh. Ram
Shout out to Refrain for doing this on her own today,
I love
too.
Ram.
She's on her own. She's
yes, by the way,
awesome.
Ram is on her own.
Shout out to Ramin.
All right, so limited follow through after the gap. Okay, so that's one way to be on the lookout for a possible false breakout. There's another way, lower volume after the gap. So we talked about outsized volume coming in on the gap, but you want to see continued, good volume strength as we trend up, because that's what we're looking for here. So a surge in volume accompanies most true breakouts. If volume fizzles after the breakaway gap, it might indicate a lack of conviction behind the move. And last but not least, confirmation with other technical indicators. How often do you hear Darren and I saying that? Look for conflicting signals from other technical indicators like the moving average, for example, or the RSI. If these indicators don't confirm the breakout, it makes the possibility of a false breakout a bit more likely. So what you're looking for essentially here is RSI, not to be in that overbought or oversold territory, or for there not to be RSI price action divergence. You also want to see the moving averages pointing upwards rather than pointing downward if the breakaway gap is to the high side as opposed to the low side. So essentially what you're doing is you're looking for other confirmation from other technicals, okay? And then how do you get to trade these breakaway gaps? Like, what's the move here? So your entry point. The breakaway gaps can offer good potential entry points in the direction of the breakout. However, sometimes waiting for the pullback after the breakout to identify stronger entries can be prudent. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second on the chart. Stop loss placement. Crucially important here as well. Breakaway gaps often create new support and resistance levels. So placing stop loss orders below the gap for the long positions and above the gap for the short positions can help you manage risk. And the measured move. Who remembers the measured move from our week on the measured move? I know I do. So you can explore the concept by going back to our lessons on the measured move. Just use the YouTube homepage and search measured move. Essentially, this technique helps you estimate potential price targets based on the size of the gap. So it helps you base it on the actual move itself. So here we go. So this is kind of the breakaway gap over here. We have a bit of a consolidation phase, and then boom, right over here on the 11th or whatever month that is, June. It looks like 11th of June, you get a big boy gap through all the way up here. But then you can see that it does pull back. It does pull back, and it comes right back into the top end of the consolidation area resistance, now support, and it bounces off that area. So if you don't want to take a long on the gap itself, so you would be getting long here if you use method 1, what you can wait for is a retracement for it to come back and test that area of support, previously resistance, to see if it checks out. Now, by doing that, you're obviously risking something. You're risking not entering the stock altogether because there's no guarantee it comes back to test support, previously resistance. It can continue to go, or it can continue to consolidate, then move. So there is an inherent risk of you not getting into the trade simply by waiting for the retracement. Most books will say, you know, basically you're waiting for the gap, you're looking for the moving averages, you're confirming the breakout with other technical indicators. If everything checks out, you punch long on the gap. You don't wait for the retracement. I'm just offering you a different possible entry, okay? And remember, guys, breakaway gaps are powerful signals, no question about that, but use them with caution and proper risk management, and keep a critical eye to avoid those false breakouts. That's why I included an entire section on it. Hope you guys print.
Yeah, we always hope everyone prints here. I want to shout out here, speaking of printing, thank you so much to Noah. $5 super chat, closing my overnight Mara short over $2 in the money.
Wow.
Thank y'all, especially Daryl, thank you, for inspiring my bravery short. My nickname is Bear, apropos. I like to throw in the apropos, shout out to Sharif there. But let's take a look at the Mara daily chart. Shout out as well to our Mara indicator at Trader TV. That's going to be BPI, Big Patty Ice. But yeah, Mara here on the day. Why? Well, come on, Mara, load for me. Yeah, I know that Mara 23 area has been pretty key. We've talked about that in the past. That is for sure. Oh, Mara.
Uh-oh.
First pushback of the day. I mean, look at this 2230 area. I have to say, no, I love where you got out of this trade, because this was twice this was resistance here on this daily chart, and we look like we're trying to kind of bounce a little bit there. So I want to shout you out for that short. Congrats to you. Great look here, broke below the 90 MA, but bouncing off that 2230. I think that's an awesome trade, and I really like that as an area of exit. Also, I'm going to talk here about some Tesla trades. I wish I had faster hands. You know, we all do, especially when you're a scalper. Oh, yeah. You just wish you could move at a more expedited pace. I did take some profit here. I want to clarify, because I saw some questions about this. I took profit on this Tesla short, this 247.59 short. Didn't get profit on all of it. Took profit on 2/3, 15 cents in the money. Lost about 5 pennies in the remaining fifth. So profitable trade. Like I said, though, I am hiding my P&L. That was just like math. But yeah, this last short, they missed my point of entry by a couple cents. I wasn't able to get out quickly enough. Ended up popping out as it got above 249. The idea on this, it had potential. I just was not quick enough. That's, you know, what it could have, should have. I have to find ways to be faster. I have to find ways to be more expedited, get those orders ready, get in the second I see stuff. I'm still looking for book scalps. That's where I feel more comfortable trading. That's going to continue to be what I'm looking for. You know, you hear a lot about edge in trading, and I think if there's something you're comfortable doing, you want to make sure you're honing that. So I want to focus on that. Had a good week last week. Yesterday was really rough, but that's the whole point of trading is you're never going to get the same thing twice. Every day is going to be unique, and always excited to have all these different markets trying new things. When you find things that work, try to hone into those and tap into those. So that's what's happening here. Also, AMD. I was like, oh, AMD looks like a range. AMD's like, what do you mean I look like a range? Pushing above that previous stop. Now, actually, we touched 157, high of day 156.95, so 157 still elusive. But a couple topping tail candles here. The bear in me wants to growl to the short side on this, but the realist in me, the pessimist is like Adara. Just because we had a topping tail candle does not a downtrend make. As Obi says, the reversion can be quite mean, and this doesn't look like a kind reversion. But we're always we want to shout out our awesome sponsors here at Benzinga Pro.
Tired of being late to the trade, Adara? I know I am. Always playing catch up in the market. Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Old man hands can't hang. Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everybody else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Are you ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. And I will spare you today the Benzinga thing. So I'm just
shout out to Benzinga.
Yeah, shout out to Benzinga. Shout out to Adara for being a good sport about that every day. No, seriously, let's get to the small cap gappers du jour, because I promised Nimit I'd look right at him, and I want to shout out Benson. Is his name Benson or Benton? Let me just make sure. Benson, shout out to you, my man. Couldn't be happier that you're printing off those Elliott waves using your algo. Kill it. And hey, man, if you make enough money, don't forget this guy over here. No, let's seriously, remember, let's show the charts. AZTR, the biggest, meanest small cap gapper on the block today. It's traded about 48.5 million shares. It's got a very light market cap at 8.33 million, and the float, sub 1,778,000 shares is this stock. Let's bring down Trade Idea, shout out the NOS boss and his crew, and find out what this short float, AZTR. There we go. This got basically a 4.5% short float there. So this is a small float and a bit, I don't want to say a large short float, definitely, but larger-ish. Now, it's having trouble with 10. It did breach 10, of course. But look at all these closing prints. They're really having trouble holding above 10. And now the wicks are having trouble getting to 10. However, on the other side of the coin, so that's bearish analysis. The bullish analysis here is since making this bottoming tail candle at 1040, each successive low has been higher than its predecessor, as well as the highs. They've also been weaseling up. So 10, still a key area of resistance. It doesn't always hold up strictly at that area, but there are definitely issues there, but it's curling up a bit. So AZTR looks awfully good, holding up at VWAP generally around that $8 area. Big boy name today. We'll keep an eye on that. SLRX, the second largest or the second strongest name in the market today, up 254%. I think that's second strongest for anything above $1 because I don't have much, I don't have a lot of eyes on anything below $1. Anyway, market cap, 3.33 million, so minuscule. Shares traded, 36.1 million. And the company profile, another one, south of 1 million share float, 560,000 shares. This reminds me of these Chinese small cap gappers that were always sub 1 million float. So let's find out what the short float is on this one on SLRX. This one has a big boy short float. So it has a small boy float, but a big boy short float. 27.1% of the float of that 500,000 share float is shorted. This one can absolutely go parabolic. Be careful. It's looking awfully good, though, from the bull side here because all the dips into the volume weighted average price have been bought up. Obviously, that $7 was elusive as a target, but I think this one's still absolutely tradable. At least it is under my system anyway, where it has to be above the volume weighted average price to take it long. ADIL, kind of the exact opposite of that. It's nice looking chart, but it's broken down south the VWAP, so no longer tradable as a breakout trade. We can look for something like maybe a range trade on this one. ADIL, up 66%. Good look, but giving back a lot of it now. BBLG, kind of a Christmas tree recovery. I'm not going to even waste my time with this one. KNSA. This one looks good. It hasn't had too much of a big move, though, but let me give you the deets on this one because it's up 20%. Now, this is not a small cap gapper. This is a $1.8 billion market cap. It's larger. The shares traded on the day are light as well, about 1.33 million. And the float is around 38.5 million shares. Not big, but not small either. Let's find out what the short float is on this one. KNSA. And another one with a larger float, short float, 14 and a fifth, 14.25% of that 32 some odd million is short. So another one that could absolutely move parabolically. We'll have a look at this one later. It's obviously holding the 10 exponential here. You can just see that very clearly on the 5-minute. It's breached it once over here, and that was at 10.05. Most of the other dips really have come into the 10 exponential held up. Definitely some selling at 26. You have a double top. You could even make the argument that there's more of a double top because you have 4 5-minute candle rejecting off that $26 area, $25.99, the high of the day on this one. PCT, I had that one up here. It's not doing a whole lot of Dara, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I need to shut it to high school musical. I need to get my head in the game here. I feel like we're going to take a moment to breathe. I think I've had reads on things. Okay, you know, the one I'm really Tesla pointed about, you can know where this is going to go. Tesla, I had the right read on this, and I panicked out of it, and I want to talk about it. So, well, did I even have the right read on this? Now I don't even know. But we had this Tesla here. Honestly, I could have gotten like 20 pennies on it, so it wasn't even that massive. But basically, this TSLA, I liked it as a long here. We were holding that 249. I was basically flat on it. It wasn't even like it was a huge loss, but I just feel like, you know, as 21 Savage says, taking less L's, making more M's. I need to be doing that right now. The theme of the week has been more L's, which is like not the vibe, right? The song's called More M's. You want to be making more M's. So I need to get my brain into gear here. That being said, I like a Tesla short. Now I know the decisions on Tesla have been today, but I also don't think you can avoid a trade because you've had poor decisions on the stock earlier. I've talked about this with Sean about having that confidence, and it's like a scared trader is a deficient trader. Just because decisions have been iffy with a stock in the past doesn't mean your read on it is always going to be poor on the day. Now, that being said, this Tesla 249 has really proven that it does not want to go above right now. Took a smaller-ish position on it. I'm willing to build if we keep rejecting that 249.20. Right now, we're back above 249s, but I like this look here. The long look decent for the time being now, though. I do think it is a bit of a short play if we could stay decisively below 249. Right now, we're trying to wick back below it. I know we're above the 90 MA. This is also an area I sometimes use as support and resistance, so I want to be cognizant of that. But right now, Tesla looks like it does want to break down a little bit here, so I am pleased as punch. Got to get your brain in here. You got to stay positive. I think that's one of the things that has been really helping me as a trader, because obviously a positive mindset is not going to get you winning trades, but it's going to keep you out of your head when you have L's. And I think that is maybe not necessarily more important, but it's going to be equally as important, especially as you're developing. Should have scalped out of this faster. We're continuing to see this chop and turn here at 249. I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I don't want to leave this quite yet, because I think we're still having a bit of a decision point here. But CrowdStrike was one people wanted to look at. So take a look at Crowd as I keep an eye on my TSLA. We've got CrowdStrike here. This one up 3.5% on the day. Wow. CrowdStrike here. Let's see what we do if we get back to 272s. This one on a bit of an upward trajectory, higher highs, and you guessed it, higher lows. Good luck here. Tesla breaking below. I'm going to get out of Tesla here. I am pleased as punch with what I did in this name. If I'm able to get filled, we'll have taken 16 pennies. I'm aware that's a pretty small trade, but sometimes you need to have those opportunities to do better. And honestly, I took my eye off it while I was scalping it, so that's a little bit of an L on my part as well. I just wanted to make sure I was looking at CrowdStrike for everybody. TSLA, hopefully putting a W there, or TSWA, I don't know. Good times. Let's see, though, how this name goes. I might have missed the opportunity on this, but you got to stay positive. You got to keep looking for things. I'm not going to give up. Never going to give you up, says Rick Astley. That's what I have to say about these here market. Never going to let you down, even when the markets go and hurt you. No, I'm joking. I have to get out of this, though. How are you
Yes,
doing?
that was good, Adair. That was
Thanks.
good. All right, Apple, I just took a bit of a trade on Apple. Took 20 pennies super quick, but it's continuing to move up there. New high a day on the dead one, Apple, and I'm kidding, it's not the dead one. 226.73, essentially at $0.75. Look, this is all explored territory. None of this is new. We were up at 237, so this is all recycled territory over here. We'll have to zoom out of the 5-minute to get a better read on where to expect resistance, but right now we're still moving up. Now I'm interested on an Amazon trade over here because we talked about the Zon being, well, strong as hell on the day. And I'm interested in this $0.50 area for a hold over here. Now I'm keeping my eye on the 5-minute chart to see if the 10 exponential on the 5 holds up. If it doesn't, I'm looking at the $0.50 area. There were some topping tail candles, both on the 1 and the 5, that came into 188.50 that rejected. So previously an area of resistance. I want to see if it holds as support. That is, again, predicated upon it giving way onto the 10 exponential on the 5. So I'm continuing to watch that. This is what I'm looking here on the 5-minute chart on AMZN. You can see it's hugging the 10 exponential over here. And if it gives way, I definitely want to go into this 188.50 to see if it holds up there. We'll pack our patience. We'll see what we get with AMZN. But yeah, strong day for that one today. Tesla, you can see, tried to weasel its way up into that 249.50. Didn't quite make it into VWAP. I was under the impression, or the bias, I should say, I thought this one was weaseling up into 250. But lo and behold, look at all these topping till candles that we had essentially from 10 o'clock to 10:45. Each and every single one rejected off 249.50. Then we had that Huadunk into 245 and 2/3. So yeah, we move all the way back into 249.5, and yet we reject again. So interesting, really not respecting the 10 or the 20, at least on my chart on the 5-minute look. Rather, there is price action resistance here on TSLA at 249.50. So let's see if it works its way up. Could be forming maybe an inverse head and shoulders. I have no idea. That's kind of just guessing. Anyway, so TSLA strong. Apple finding a little bit of resistance here at pivot point resistance 1, the aqua, the teal line, the dotted teal line. Trust the teal max says usually 226.79, rejecting off that level right now, coming back down into the $0.33. We'll keep eyes on that one. So I'm looking here at Softy. I'm looking at Amazon. I'm wondering, do we double top here? Because you're seeing the same kind of look on NVIDIA, possibly Amazon and Microsoft, where they're getting into those kind of local highs that we put in initially and curling a little bit back down. If that's the case, I don't want to be caught in any double tops over here. Let's check the small cap gappers real quick, see what's going on over in this world. KNSA still doing things over here, but AZTR and SLRX still a little bit off VWAP. Ostentatious Productions, love that name. Do you think Palantir will hit 29.50? That is a good question, my friend. Let me remove these side charts here and bring in the other single chart, and we'll have a look at Palantir for you. Here it is. PLTR, he says, do I think Palantir will hit 29.50? Let's look at the 15-minute look, see where Palantir has been up to lately. Well, we certainly have a healthy amount of resistance, I would submit to you, at around 29.50. So on the 19th, which was Friday, we rejected like triple top essentially off that level. The wicks broke 29.50. You could tell the closing prints were all south of that. We also had issues with it on the 18th. Sure, we got up into that $0.75, but we didn't close there. And we retraced every time. So even if we do get up into 29.50, my man, I still think it is a resistance level until it's not, until it gets breached on a closing basis. You want to see that closing print come in on it. So right now, we're at that $0.25. It's a good day for Palantir, I guess. It closed out at 28.46. We touched 29.19. Not an outsized move or anything, but definitely breaking through yesterday's highs at $29. So unsure if we get into 29.50, but if we do, expect some resistance until you get a closing print north of that. Keeping an eye on AMZN. So it does look like it is, at least for the moment, right now, going to hold up above the 10 exponential on the 5, and if it does, I'm going to go long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about my reads on stuff right now, so I'm going to try to be patient, stay calm. I do want to take some trades, but my brain has just not been vibing with the charts, and I think sometimes that happens, and you've just got to be honest with yourself, got to take your time, got to pause and breathe. I have to read out this hilarious comment from Glenn Smith. I have qualms about getting rickrolled. I don't blame you.
I saw that.
I did rickroll you there, but I got a kick out of your comments, so I want to shout you out. But if there's any tickers you want to shout out, go in the chat, ! Join space, $, whatever ticker you're interested in. Maybe it's Nike. I'm seeing some Nike comments. Going to look at Nike in a second. Maybe it's TSLA. Maybe it's NVIDIA. Maybe it's Apple, which has just been on that move to the upside. Apple turnover certainly to green on the day. That is a Granny Smith. That's not a Red Delicious. It's going to be a Granny Smith Apple on the day. So really good look here. We did have some news from Counterpart Research this morning as well, in addition to that new foldable iPhone that's reportedly being worked on here. We had some news as well. India apparently having a bit of a reduction there. It's going to be possibly benefiting Apple, because they make some stuff in India, but they do also import some phones to India. So they're apparently the foreign phone company that's poised to benefit the most from that. So I like to say AAPL here. Yeah, keeping an eye on some stuff. NVIDIA, I tried along here. It looks like we're basing out. Didn't work out. I need to find, some scalpy little opportunities, find stuff that makes sense, work on focusing on those names that are moving in ways that, I can trade. So good look on that. SOXL actually curling higher. I don't dislike what I'm seeing on SOXL. though. AMD bouncing. Whoa, no, that's crazy. We wick into this 156.40 here earlier. Then we get to 156.50. We wick down here, then we bounce. Look where we bounce again, 156.40. It's an interesting level to me. That being said, though, I am seeing a slightly lower high, so I want to keep an eye on this. Willis Addison, though, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. My snow and meta calls, just prayer hands. This guy, the salute guy, and the money bags guy. So great look there. Sounds like you have the confidence to take that trade. So let's take a look at Meta. Here we go. Shout out to Saad Mahmood as well, saying hi. Apparently live trading from Pakistan on vacation. So shout out to you. That sounds like a fun, change of scenery for sure. Meta, wow, bouncing off this 90 MA and that previous area of 493. Good look for Spreada itself. And then also Snow. So if you're in calls, I guess you're probably calling it a day there, Willis Addison. I'm sure you're very happy with how this is going. SNO. Oh, Snow, what a bull flag here. I'm going to shout you out there with that look on that Willis Addison. Do we have any news on Snow? I didn't see anything on Snow, but Snowflake melting up here and said, apparently they announced they're going to be hosting the Llama 3.1 collection of multilingual open source large. So they're in it with Meta. So that's a story together. So good look there for Willis Addison. I also want to look at Nike before I hand it back to the mustachioed man to my right. Let's take a look at Nike here, because some people were asking about what Nike is up to over here. So it's running to the downside. Wow, what about a flat bottom break? Kwadunk, look at that. We had a little bit of support here earlier, 74.70 in the pre. Then we reject off 74.70, 74.75. Pushing lower highs here below VWAP. We Kwadunk to break that previous support at 74.40. Now we're seeing something kind of interesting though happening here, just below, around 73.90, 73.80. We had that rejection. Now we're trying to coil, form a little bit of support, perhaps may chance, a little bit of a bottoming tail candle here around 73.90s. Could be an interesting look. I would say wait to see what we do at 74, because 74 was a little bit of a reversal area, and it's near that 90 MA, but not a bad look here for Nike. Let's see if, shout out to Frank Ocean there on Nike. Let's see if the market is going to be wearing Nikes here to the upside. How are you doing? What are you looking at?
Sounds good. I got stopped out of my Amazon long. I'm looking now for a 20-period retracement. So I put it at the 10. The 10 didn't hold, so I got stopped out for, I believe, a 25-penny loser. Got out on the break of the $0.50, got in at 73. So now I've got another dip trade set up over here at the 20 exponential. I realize that this could be manifesting a double top, but it's strong on the day, so I'm trying to ride the trend rather than take a mean reversion. So I'm sitting here at 188.15. Let's see if we get filled. We're already dipping into a $0.25, so looking for the dip trade on Amazon. But I did promise Nimit I'll look at SLRX. I'm sorry, Nimit. I know I'm probably a little bit late to the party, and you're like, yo, bro, I asked for that, that analysis a little bit ago, and I'm sorry. But here it is. Let's have a look at SLRX. In fact, let me start off with a 5-minute look here on the name. Good entry. Yes, Nimit. This is interesting over here. Now, you're going to have to be careful, okay? Because the bottom can drop off. We've touched VWAP once, twice, yes, OB thrice, and now we're doing a 4th touch over here, breaching 5. Now, it has held generally. I mean, the wicks have breached VWAP, but you've got a general hold of this volume-weighted average price 5-ish area, Nimit. But you know how these ones go. You trade small caps all the time, Nimit. The bottom can drop off, but I like this area if you can manage your risk effectively. VWAP is always an interest, not always, but like a lot. It's often shows up as a good level of support for a dip trade on these small cap gappers, especially the ones that have shown its propensity to bounce off it prior to that, and this one has. So good luck to you, Nimit. I hope you print, no question about that. VWAP exactly on my chart seems to be at that mid-80s area. 485, but it's doing the dance right now with generally $5 VWAP 485. You guys get it. So we'll keep an eye on this one. AZTR, same look. This one also right back into the volume weighted average price, but it's been putting in successively lower highs with that flat bottom hanging around $8. Sure, you got a breach around 1040, but look how quickly you were able to retrace and show that it is respecting the volume weighted average price for the most part. So if this one breaches VWAP aggressively on a closing basis, it could be one of those, much beloved flat bottom breaks. And we only love it so we can hit the animation, quite frankly. So that's a look there. All right, so AMZN still holding up at that $0.25. It didn't dip into my 15. So right now it's still at a third. It showed that it came back into a quarter, so I'm still waiting at the 20 exponential. But again, you know, these typically are zones rather than prices. So I'm looking for something here on AMZN, just hoping that I'm not getting long into a double top. And gonna live to regret that. Into 28s we go. I'm sitting at 15s. We'll see what we get there. Nimit got in at 478 with SLRX and out at 510 in 2 minutes. Shout out to you, man. That's a 35-penny winner right there, baby, on a $5 name. Ain't nobody gonna complain about that. I'm sure somebody will, but that's okay. SPWR over $1, says Alex. Is that SunPower, right? SPWR, SunPower, that really good, really good, solar company.
Sarcasm?
Yeah, it has a very large market cap, Adara, and it's done quite well.
Sarcasm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. I love how you ask. Yeah, no, we're kidding, of course. I don't mean to belittle the name, but it obviously was one place in the pandemic and is in a different place now. So that's with a lot of these solar names. You know, I personally thought that the Biden administration would have been amazing for solar names, but the problem is that inflation came fast and furious, and they had to raise rates. We know solar plays are rate dependent, so I thought, that the last 4 years would have been fantastic for solar, but that didn't end up happening. SPWR, let's have a look here at the 5-minute chart. Wow, this one's moving big boy. And why is it running? Here it is, maintained by Goldman. Maintained as a sell? And cut the maintained as a sell and cut the price from $2 to 50 cents. Not you too, Goldman. I don't really have a look here as to why it's moving up. Looking at yesterday's news headline, SunPower shares are volatile. Monday stock tumbled last week. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole thing. But the point is to tell you that SPWR just broke $1. That makes it an entirely different trade. And it just didn't break $1 like $1.02, $1.03. 114 high dates up 57%. I don't have a read as to why this thing is moving, but I don't really need to. So it's moving up big. Keep your eye on this one. And there's outsized volume over here. The volume on the day is 80.2 million, market cap of 200. The float is 11.3 million shares. And I'll get you the short float. I'm willing to bet it's high. SPWR, probably. Yeah, 33.5% of this 11.3 million share float is shorted. That is big, and I'm not surprised because solar has been absolutely demolished the last 4 years. Keep your eye on this one. Good look. Thanks. Thanks for pointing that out, Alex. I'm going to put it on my side chart. What are you looking at, Adara?
I'm trying to short Soxo.
Okay.
And yeah, I say this very hesitantly because, like I said, I have not had the best read, per se, on the market today. But I like this look, and I've actually been eyeing a short on Soxal for a bit here. Now, why, you may ask, have I been looking at Soxal short? And as I say that, I'm definitely not going to get filled. Well, we had lower highs here. We have a flat bottom-ish around this, what is this, 50-50. And we've had lower highs. And we've had some topping tail candles. Now, granted, we've had some bottoming tail candles as well, but the topping tail candles by far eclipsing, out candling those candles, out burning those candles as of late. So, you know, I don't know if we're going to have an eternal flame to the downside. Shout out to the Bangle song from the 80s there, I believe. But we do have some lower highs here for sure. I would like to get involved if I can at 19s. I am not compromising on where I want to get involved. Okay, I got involved. Now, knowing how my read on the markets has been as late, I'm sure it will go up now that I'm in it, but I don't want to be a pessimist because that's not how I play. That's not who I am. I like the stock. Shout out to Roaring Kitty and Roaring Katina. Right now, I like the stock. If I see anything in the book that is making me question this, which right now I kind of am. I don't love how we're bouncing at 21. 21 is not, in fact, doing something for me right now in Soxal. But I think I'm going to trade this. Sometimes what I'll do, and you know, I've done this a couple times, quite a few times if the stock allows me to, I'll add in and out of the position while I'm in it. I like to do the kind of like scraping that the Adara Panera. Now this is kind of more what the Adara Panera range has evolved into. If I can take 12 pennies here in Soxal right now, I'd be pleased as punch. I want to get a part of the position 5107s. Then I'll add back in as we get into 20s. I want to be boxing, as Sharif did with that metaphor. I want to be boxing the stock here, right? I want to give it a bit of an uppercut, give it the old one too. Hawaiian Electric, though, was getting asked about, so let's see if there's anything electric happening right now in HE. How is he doing today? I don't know. How is he doing? HE here up 7%. I know this one is a short float of something like 16%. I remember I looked at this last week. Higher highs, higher lows. There was that report last week that they had that settlement with regards to the Hawaiian fires. Yeah, higher highs, higher lows. I want to see, I don't want to call this like a retracement setup, but we get to this, where's the 1610? Now we're kind of maybe petering out. This was a very big old green candle. I would like to see us continue to hold support above this 16 area for he. Let's see how he goes. Happy I took out half the profit here in Soxal. This is what I needed in my life. Sometimes you take hits, you got to fall, you got to get back up. I was like, you know, went to the washroom, listened to some Kendrick Lamar on the weekend in my brain, just mentally playing some music. Sometimes you got to let that get your music in your head, nice. If that's what motivates you, and that's what's happening there. Might actually play some real music during the Real Deal with Neil, but there you go. Sometimes you got to amp yourself back up. As I am in Soxal, I think it would maybe be apropos, shout out to Sharif, to short AMD here as well. Because AMD below the 90 MA, which is a level I like, we're rejecting 156.20. Don't mind if I do. Teeny tiny position. I want to clarify. This is a very small position. If we break up here decisively into 40s, we'll get out. But I'm actually tempted to add if we reject off 40s. You gotta get back up when the market gets you down, because that's the only way you can, in fact, keep going in life and in trading. Reload ADIL says Flexius Pascan. I love that name. I don't know about Reload. You know, we're not going to give advice, but we'll take a look here at A-Dial for you. Let's see what notch this one is A-Dialed to right now. Oh, man, I got to say, as a reload area, get not advice, but I don't actually hate this area. Now, I know it does not follow the Sharif small cap gapper rules. It follows one of them. It's broken the pre-market high, but it is well below VWAP. However, we are trying to bounce a bit here in the 90 MA, which is around that previous area of resistance in the pre. I gotta say, or the previous area. I don't mind this 185 level. Again, not advice. I am not a small cap trader. Do your due diligence. That being said, there's something interesting here. I would wait for a little bit more confluence. I'd also be curious. I'd be very cognizant of what we do at $2. A, it's a whole dollar level. B, we had some chop and turn earlier. Hopefully, I get to say we're back, baby, to the markets. But right now, I'm just waiting to see how these trades go. What are you looking at?
Well, we're in Amazon. We took 15 pennies on Amazon. I'm still holding a nice amount over here. I'm looking for a 20 exponential hold up and a move back up, 189, 188.50, something like that. We're doing the dance right now with a third of a dollar. We've been doing the dance with a third of a dollar for a little bit. Here comes the 40. Okay, so there goes the 40. Let's see if we can wet our beacon around high 40s, maybe in front of that $half area. That's where the 10 exponential is hanging out. So here we go. Let's see if we dip back down to the mid 30s we go. So I'm gonna hang out at 45s. Come crazy, but that's where I'm gonna hang out up here. I'm also looking at the future, catching a bit of a bid because we did clear an area of key resistance at this 20,000, you know, and a third, let's call it a third, maybe 40. We come back down to it after breaking 20,084. We come back down and we're holding this area here on the future. And people have been asking in the chat what I mean by future. I'm talking about futures. This is what we call the NQ September contract. Many different derivatives. There is the ES futures, there's the Russell, there is the Dow, and then of the NASDAQ and of the ES, there's so many other, you know, different products, future related that you can trade. So, you know, apprise yourself of them. And yeah, let me know how that goes. Okay, so we printed Adara there at 45s on Amazon. I'm happy with this trade. We were 0-1 on the Zon. We lost 15 cents. Now we took 35. So I'm happy with that. Oh no, I'm actually positive on it now. Good. Let's see if it can weasel its way right back up. I'm also looking at 227 on Apple because the dead one just keeps going up today on this foldable iPhone nonsense that's coming out in a year and a half. 2026, people are saying. Dude, I mean, there's been Samsungs for a hot minute now that are like that, but obviously the ecosystem is a little bit different on the Apple ecosystem. Anyway, 226.94 HOD, it's printing 86 right now. You know, it really hasn't been coming down into the 10 exponential on the 5. Let's flip to the 1 minute chart. Is it coming down? It's coming down into the 20 on the 1. Okay. Remember we talked about that week on moving averages, and I said, you know, if you're trading off the 5 and it seems to keep bouncing at areas where there's no moving average, flip your timeline. See what moving averages look like on other timelines and how they're conflating or not conflating with the price action on the name. So right here, you can see this one definitely when it was a bit stronger on the 1, it was holding the 10 as the angle of the ascent changed and got a little bit more irregular. It started bouncing off the 20. So keeping an eye on AAPL, looking for possibly something here, maybe a rounded top, a breach of 227, whatever it is, we will keep tabs on that. What else is moving afoot? So Tesla, I see you guys talking about Tesla, and I want to talk about this too. This looks like an inverse head and shoulders to me that could be setting up here on the 5. There is the bulbous head, right? And there's,
I like that.
I got that from Seinfeld.
Oh?
George held a grudge against a guy who would not let him borrow a cashmere sweater at a party.
Really?
Rather gave him those windbreakers to wear. And George confronted him later. He's like, you know, I've always, you know, held that against you. You gave me some cheap MetLife windbreaker that they give out a ball game. I wanted a nice sweater. I was cold. He's like, I didn't want your bulbous head stretching out the neckline of my sweater.
That is very unkind.
Yeah, it was very rude.
Yeah,
Poor George
bulbous head and shoulders there. I like that.
There you go. So we got a bulbous head and shoulders here, Ram. But again, obviously, I'm just assuming that I see that. We have to wait for it to manifest. Ram, chart. 250 over here is where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. If we get a decided break and hold above 250, I like this look on Tesla. I think we can trend. Do not forget that Tesla reports after the bell, so make sure to hang out with Adair and Katina Man. Is it you today or is it Neil? The Katina Man today on the market recap show with Adara. Catch that. I mean, I think they report like 4:05 or 4:10 or something like that. They're usually pretty quick. TSLA tonight after the bell. So I'm keeping my eye on that. I want to see what it does at 250. If it breaches 250 to the high side, I'm looking long on Tesla Adara.
Tesla, I was seeing 410. Google, I was seeing 4 o'clock. Just to go over that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. I like to know things. This is funny. Borhout tagged me saying, Adara LePage be like, I'm still concentrating on AMD. No, that bulbous head thing was funny, but I was able to also take 25 cents in AMD while we had that. Happy, pleased as punch. Sorry, guys, I know I say that a lot, but I was really proud of how this trade manifested. Obviously, sometimes you want more shares, but I had a smaller position. We were below the 90 MA. We got below 156s, got out 155.95, so 25 pennies. Had a couple of other chip-related shorts as well. NVIDIA, man, did I get out too early. I got involved 77s, I got out 73s. 4 penny club, got it. No, still profit, not gonna complain.
Good.
But yeah, I got out because I was focusing on AMD because I find AMD to be a lot more stressful to trade, and AMD was giving me more of a struggle. So I was like, Adair, focus on your AMD. Just take your profit out of NVIDIA, get out. NVIDIA clearly drops lower here. I would have been fine getting out around that 50s area. So I would have taken like 27 pennies. NVIDIA gave you even more than that. So shout out to N to the V to the D to the A. SOX L, happy with this. Did have a bit of a SOX W on SOX L. Another one that dropped lower than I thought it would, but happy with where I got out because I added in, right? Like I said, the plan was to add, subtract, add, subtract. I added in my last time here at 51. I want to say 15s. Ended up getting out of, wait, no, I must have not. This was not at 15s. I added at 17s here. Ended up getting out everything around 14s because we were seeing higher lows in the book. And you can't hang. I was not going to hang with that. Shout out to Sharif. So my hands could not hang. I ended up getting out here of SOX L. That being said, I continue to like this consolidation around and below VWAP. I think there are some trade opportunities. I'm going to be waiting to see what happens here, though. But Vincent, spotting one, pun intended, you guys know where I'm going with this. Spotting one we haven't looked at yet today in this show, and it's been Spotify. Oh, okay. Gotta say, what I'm spotting on Spotify is a lot of chop and it's a lot of churn. We had a beautiful bull flag here earlier. We get to that 340 area, bit of a topping tail candle, slump back to the downside, bounce off VWAP, bounce off VWAP, get to 340 here around right before the open. Would you believe we have another topping tail candle? We do. Then we break below VWAP, but we find, oh, I love this area. We find some support here at 331s, which is that previous bounce area. Then we reject here off VWAP a couple times, going to be around 335, break below, make a lower high, 334, and now we're seeing a higher low. Spotify spread only about 35 cents. I want to see what we do with 331s because that 331 was quite the area here earlier of support. And we bounced out of it earlier. That 331, when the bow breaks, the cradle may fall. Not a song. I don't know if you could stream that on Spotify, but it is something I want to keep an eye on here. S to the P to the O to the T. Guys, vote for tickers you want to take a look at. Exclamation point, join space, $sign. Maybe it's TSLA, GM, GOGL, NVDA, SOXL, UM, Spotify. Maybe it's SunPower. Maybe you want to see what's powering SunPower today. Whatever it is, guys, we want to know. Definitely this segment brought to you by Real Trading, our new audience segment.
Amazing. The best prop trading firm around here. And I got to tell you, I paid almost next to nothing for 100 shares of a small cap gapper that I can't even short on my own platform. It doesn't have any shorts available. So, yeah, that's the kind of benefits you get with Real Trading. So shout out to them. Brad Gober, Ram, says, we need a poll on who's playing Tesla on earnings. I know you're alone today, Ram, so I don't want to overburden you up there. But I'm just saying, if you have a second, Brad Gober, be like, are you playing Tesla on earnings? Yeah, yes or no? Yeah. Also, I saw Neil in the chat talk about SPWR. Now, we talked about this one being a different trade once it breaches that $1 area. Now, let's watch because it got up into $1.05. In fact, it actually broke a fifth. I think it got to 123, but now it's down to 108 and it's making lower highs and lower lows. So I saw Neil ask a very astute question in the chat. Do we come back and test the dollar? Because that's often a trade that's with these small cap gappers, especially the ones south of $1 that start south of $1. Once they breach that dollar, you're looking to use that former area of resistance, being the dollar, of course, as now support. Doesn't always work out that way, but it behooves us to be ready for it to see if it does and be prepared to take the trade there. So I'm not going to be playing Tesla on earnings, Ram. So I'm going to say no, wait till tomorrow. I already have some shareage there in the long-term account, so I am all good to go there. But you know who isn't all good to go? Alfred. So Alfred and I, well, we went to the beach on Saturday, as you know. I don't want to take away from your analysis.
I love the Alfred stories. I'm just waiting for this thing to hit it.
Yeah. Okay. So we went, right, and then my buddy Elliot, you're right, he's a businessman, but he has no hand in the market. What's happening, Ram? You redid it? All good. Okay, so are you playing? Nah. I'm going to put nah. Anyway, so Alfred was telling Elliot, who wants to get in the market and stuff like that. He doesn't have anything in the market at the moment. He's like, yeah, I have to live kind of with and have to be dead inside because his majority of the portfolio was Tesla. So you know what happens.
So he was having a rough start in 2024.
Man. Of course.
Also,
but then he was
in Archer Daniels Midland as well. And
those are all super small though.
Okay, and I know Archer Daniels Midland's in the start of the year as well.
Really
so I was like, poor Alfred.
Well, yeah. Well, you know him. He'll be telling you, I'll buy the dip there to no end. But Tesla, seriously though, so he has heart attacks all the time. But lately, well, at least now coming off the highs, he's been very happy, obviously. So he's telling him, that you basically, again, the whole story about Alfred being dead inside. This is the other. All right, Gorev, ARM, looking pretty strong today. 2 strong hourly candles. Let's look at ARM. Not one that I typically trade, but we'll look at it right over here. So this is obviously one of the best performing chip names on the year. I'll give you the year-to-date look and real quick. Yeah, nice. 128% year-to-date, nothing big. No, seriously though, guys, only 10% of this is being traded in the public markets. SoftBank and Masayoshi Son own basically 90%. So if you're going to own, if you're going to trade this, you have to understand only 10% of the short or the actual shares are actually put there in public trading. So on the 5-minute look, it broke the 10 exponential on the 5. I want to see what it does at the 20 because it's been very directional. It's really respected the 10 essentially since the opening bell, guys. So Gorev, I mean, it really hasn't breached the 10 exponential on the 5 at all. On the day. And here it is. This is the first time on the day it's actually going to break down below. So it behooves us to really be careful here and to see where it could hold up. So my first area that I'm looking is going to be the 20, right? The yellow line on the chart. See whether it holds up there or not. Then I'm going to be looking at the whole dollar level, that 170. It's the whole dollar. It's the $10 level to see what that 170 area looks like. And then obviously, again, sorry to keep doing this, but 169 really is the better price. There's a reason for that. So we have an obvious area top over here that we rejected at 169. There were basically 15 minutes or more than that, 15 minutes, about 20 minutes of rejections at 169. We dip into 167 and change. And then you have this candle over here at 5 to 11 breaking through 170 decidedly. So we know that 169 was a bit of a price action resistance. In addition to that, the volume weighted average price also hanging out at 169. So if we get a curl back down here on ARM, first area I'm looking at the 20, which is at 170 and 2/3. Then I'm looking at 170. Then I'm looking at 169. I need it to show me proof that it's going to hold up there before I get in. All right. Now I'm seeing the rounded top come in on Apple. And this is kind of what we were talking about here because we got into that 227 and now we're putting in lower lows, lower highs, and we're doing that rounded top effect. Is this the time to short the dead one and take it back down possibly into 225? We're at the 10 exponential on the 5 right now. If we breach a 10 exponential, I'm going short on Apple. I want to see exactly what we do right here. If we hold up, that's kind of bullish. Maybe holding up for a 227 break. But if we break down, I think we have a nice little gap to fill. It's not technically a gap, so should probably not use it on the day we're teaching gaps. But we have a good little void here to fill between the 10 exponential Adera and that 225, the area from which we broke.
Yeah, I was just talking about how listening to music in my head or playing music back in my head helps my trading. Right now I'm actually in Spotify, so let's see if we can get that bump in there because I do like these lower highs. And like I said, I like the 331 area. Now I have a recurring problem that I definitely need to work on. Like I said, I've been journaling. That's something I've really been taking very seriously, especially since going live. And one of my recurring problems, which I've talked about on the show, is getting short at support and long at resistance. It's an ongoing issue. And it's funny too, as a range trader or someone who used to trade ranges, not exclusively, but very frequently, that this is an issue I have, but it is one I have. And so I want to be aware of it. I think that this could end up holding a support, but why I like it is because this was such an area of support earlier. We are breaking below it a little bit, especially on the buy side, not so much to the sell side, but we got into 331.50s and then sold right back off. Here's my stop level for this. I've talked a lot about not using hard stops anymore, and that's because I find I make really questionable trades when I do that. What I will be doing, though, is seeing what we do as we creep into this 332, which happens to be the 9 EMA. If we break decisively above that area with a viciousness, if I see anything in the book I don't like, I will get out. I'm still really tempted to add to Spotify around 331.25s because that was a bit of an area we struggled with. But right now, my struggle is to just try to stay calm and stay in this name. No, I'm joking. I'm pretty calm. But I am a little bit miffed. I wasn't able to short AMD. because I really wanted to short AMDs. We got back up into the area I liked, my 156.20. Look at this beautiful topping tail candle. Chef's kiss. We wick into it. I'm like, trying to type furiously. I was not fast enough. AMD sold the heck off. But you know what? I'm still smiling over here. You got to stay positive because the markets do not care about your feelings. So you have to do what you can to preserve the mental. Shout out to Obi, who talks a lot about preserving the mental. And right now, my way of preserving the mental is just having some music in my head and trading this music-based stock, which is Spotify. 250 put on Tesla looks nice till till 26th, says Chase Bands.
Oh.
Yeah, Tesla at the 250 has been a little interesting look. Oh, Tesla. Tesla, look at you. Can't even really, we almost wicked to 250 here, barely. We nudge our little head up into 250. Then we move down below the 90 MA now. That 248 area was really interesting for TSLA. If we get back to 248, that's where I'm really gonna have eyes on this. I was trying to go long and short 249 earlier. I don't love how I feel about that level. I feel better about 248s. That being said, you guys know me. I will scalp this thing to the high heavens if I see anything on the book that is giving me the opportunity to do so. Spotify curling down now off 50s. This might be an opportunity to add. I started with a really small position because I wanted to be able to add if I felt the need to do so. So I want to be keeping an eye on Spotify. X marks the spot. No, actually, the spot will be marked depending on what we do here at 3:30:30s. That's going to be the look for me for spot. Oh my gosh, I just realized we're at 3:30:45s. I'm in the money.
Hey.
I'm in the money. I didn't even realize that. Okay, please just punch with that. Been hiding the P&L just to focus on the trades themselves. So I had no idea I was in the money on this. Yeah, I deserve a gong for that. That is for sure on that one. But I'm really happy with how that went. You know, sometimes you just got to have the conviction, get it on the balance of the evidence. But how are you doing?
I'm trying to short the dead one, so I'm going short here. I've got as you can see, I've got a DCA over here because we did get a breach of the 10 exponential on the 5. So we're short 226.25 at this area. So we'll see if we can get some continuity to the downside. There it is, baby. I just don't have as much shares as I'd like, and nor do I have the price that I want. I did want 40s, but you don't get what you desire. You get what you get. So let's see if we can get a 20 exponential retracement. What's going on over there, Katina, man?
You sit down to $1?
He just sat down to $1. Here I am trying to fight for it. He shorted 250 on Tesla, and that's where VWAP is, and it's been rejecting multiple times off that volume weighted average price multiple times today on TSLA. So we're going to shout out to Katina Man for that trade. He puts a resting order. He bangs out a walk and talk, or I don't know if he banged out a walk and talk, but he was not around.
I came back, saw the level, and punched in.
He came back, saw the level, and punched in. I stand correct. 3 times. Shout out to the Katina Man, baby. $1 in the money there. Kill it, Katina. Killer Katina, but he's also good vibes. Katina. Ram, can we show the chart? All right, so I'm going to wait down at 226s for here on AAPL. Look, I know this is very bullish, but it was doing a rounded top. It breached the 10 exponential on the 5. Sorry, I was swatting a fly. And so I'm looking short. So if it ends up breaking above, yeah, I'm just thinking, Sharif's on timeout. Oh my God. This girl. If it gets above 62s, I'm out. But I do believe Neil is ready for his lesson of the day. So let's send it to him.
Welcome. Whoa. There we go. Welcome. Got a lesson of the day here. It's going to be something you hear me say a few times. It's like the over-under on a stock. So very simply, everyone knows over-under in betting terms. Okay, are they going to score, whatever? Is it going to be 10 runs in the game? Will 10, have like a line of like 10.5? Are you going to see them score over? You think it's going to be high scoring or low scoring? That's not how we use it in trading. It's not how I use it in trading. I use it when there's a key price level that I like in either direction. So you can have a support or resistance spot where you just think it's a big decision point on the stock and you're willing to trade sometimes in either direction. The stock could be hanging out above it and you like longs. It could be hanging out beneath it and you like the shorts. So first things first, I want it to be a key level. So we'll start with NVIDIA and we'll get to Tesla because 250 has turned into something along those lines. NVIDIA, for 3 days in a row, we've probably talked about this. Yeah, at the same high, 122.5-ish, 122.5-ish. Friday, well, it doesn't quite get there on Friday, but close enough, so you're still looking at the same resistance. Now, what's interesting is what happened yesterday. Broke out, failed the even dollar, bounced off it, failed the even dollar. Then it goes all the way back into the breakout price. When it eventually holds the afternoon above, then you get the run and hold above 122.5. So if you saw when it was challenging this level, it's a little bit over 50 cents, 60 cents, a little bit under, just a couple of bucks in there. And then when it clears the second time through, you're holding. So today, this would be an example of a stock where if it's above 122.5 looking long, if it's underneath 122.5 looking short, disregard those dark pool wicks, but you can see it bounces in. There was never a breakdown. So it broke trend. I'm not going short because when it breaks the trend, I'm still thinking longs above that area. A lot of times I would short something like this. And arguably, when I drew that trend line, you could have been shorting NVIDIA off of that trend line. It goes back up to the top. You probably could have shorted in here, but just looking for the longs above 122.5. The best I've gotten is 123 even. But it is what it is. Like, that's what I'm going to be favoring. And if this afternoon the market doesn't want to hold on to green, NVIDIA doesn't want to hold on to green, and we break underneath, I'm not fighting any longs under there. I'm willing to look for shorts underneath that 122.5. We saw it move under that price before. Clearly, it was also a key resistance level, so there's nothing wrong with going back to that well. Going into earnings today, Tesla. Sometimes you flip a coin on an earnings day. What are they going to do? Is it going to be a buy? Is it going to be a sell? But Tesla was very similar at the $250 level. Now, even dollars, that's going to stand. $250 is just going to stand out for its own obvious reasons. But if you can see what's been happening at that price, you've got breakdown here, holds 46. You're not really holding exactly at that level every single time. It's significant. There's a huge bounce off 250. There is a rejection of 250 under, rejection of 250 under. But you have fails in either direction. So it's a bit of a pivot spot. And I think going into today, I don't know that we were anticipating, I wasn't anticipating a dip into $250. That said, there's your 250. You've seen a bit above and below. When it comes into that price, what happens at the open? I love it when Tesla goes up. Everyone loves it when Tesla goes up. Trading is more fun when stocks are strong, but it does not hold on to 250. Now, I was trading other things here and missed a chance to short it underneath, but see it fail underneath 250. Now we're back into shorting. It's VWAP as well, but shorting off that 250. Scalping some, if it trades to the low, fair enough. But if this afternoon, just like NVIDIA, if NVIDIA decides to flip and goes from buying those dips into 122.5, maybe the 123s, if it can't hold that bottom, I'm willing to flip it and go in the other direction. Tesla's no different. If we're breaking and holding above 250, then trend longs in the afternoon, there's nothing wrong with that. So have a willingness, at least at a key level or a level that you deem it makes sense, to go in the other direction. It's great while it's under, shorting this thing. When it breaks out above, you want to look for the longs. I think perfect examples there with both NVIDIA and Tesla, and maybe we get that chance. Maybe we're going to break out to the upside and Tesla wants to be a long above 250. Maybe NVIDIA wants to break to the downside and be a short underneath 122.5. But it showed you a key level, showed you some wiggle off that level yesterday and eventually a hold, or a wiggle off it yesterday and eventually a hold this morning, and then you start trading off of that key level. Play it in the direction that works until it doesn't. We say oftentimes X stock is a long till it ain't. X stock is a short till it ain't. This is all about finding that key price where that is true and be willing to flip the script when it's going in the other direction. That's your lesson of the day. Find that pivot point. Find that key price level where you can play the over-under trade and be willing to be active at that key price. Good luck, everybody, in your trading rest of the day here, and let's go NVIDIA.
Thank you very much, Neil. Neil Roberts, the dropper of hot lines every day at around that noon hour. Neil's lesson of the day. Thank you very much for that. Neil, the Katina man's printing up a storm, it seems like, on that side of the desk as Tesla comes right back down again into that 248 area. So this looks like a rounded top here manifesting on TSLA. Sorry, I'm fumbling the chart. I'm trying to bring it in on the side over here. Yes, that is how many dollars in the money the Katina man is. And this is the look on TSLA. I've been, mistakenly, obviously seeing a possible inverse head and shoulders on this. All that it is seemingly like a consolidation area with an outlying dip into 245 and 2/3, and then moving right back into said consolidation area, which in my opinion happens to be to the low end 248 and to the high end 249.5, sometimes weaseling its way into that 250 area where the volume weighted average price is. So TSLA, awfully good look today for the shorts as we anticipate earnings after the bell. I will be all ears and whatever other sensory perceptive organs I have on the earnings call, because I want to see what Elon will say on a number of issues. Most notably, though, of course, is the robo-taxi, which we're all expecting in August and which has now been kicked down the road into October. Optimus on the table as well as or important as well as in addition to that, obviously, we want to know more about the Model 2 because that will be the most scalable, I'm assuming, of all the cars. The Model 3 had been prior to that. So interesting look right now. We are getting a bit of a bounce here. Looks like on the future at that, generally 20,000 point area. We put a gnarly doji candle and another 5-minute candle will make a new high. We come into 20,005 or 20,006. The closing print yesterday is right at 20,000. So for the moment, at least, we're positive right now on the NQ September contract, up 0.14. But I want to see exactly if we hold this level. It's a very important level, 20,000, obviously, being the 10,000 point level. So we'll keep tabs on that. I did, by the way, get stopped out of the remaining position that I had on Apple. So I was able to get a beak wetter there, DCA'd here, then stopped out for the full amount as it continued to make higher highs and higher lows. But I still like the short on Apple. Okay, so now I'm going to try to do this a little bit better as we consolidate here a little bit at this 226 1/3. I'm still thinking this is making lower highs and lower lows. I'm still looking short over here until I see something a little bit different, Adair.
Yeah, so Sharif came and sat down and saw me disciplining Amazon. I was like, bad Amazon. No. I was short Amazon here. And I liked it because we did have this double top. I was also, talking to our resident Amazon trader here, Obi, in the lunchroom. We were kind of talking about it, and we both were kind of like there wasn't really any strong catalyst on it. It just kind of popped, had a bit of a double top. I liked it as a short. I'm happy I didn't short it the second I got sat down because it was like 118, popped up to 118.20. I think we popped to 118.30 when I first sat down. Then we sold off there a little bit. So I said, Dara, we at the time we couldn't hold 188.20, so I got involved in 188.18. Then we ran back up here. I lost like 20 pennies on this. Happy I tried it. I really like the look of it, and I also liked it because we had these lower highs. Now I think it is trying to reverse into a long, but I don't feel as good about the long, so I don't want to get involved yet. But that is the AMZN look. I also took 40 pennies on Spotify, which I would like to talk about as well. Got out of this trade because I was like not going to hold this while I was, trying to take that break there as Neil did his lesson of the day. I want to shout out those hot lines. Yeah. But right now, the hot lines that were dropping on Spotify over the music box were like, short me, short me. That was the song Spotify was singing to me on my playlist. Bless you, Ram Ram. But we had lower highs, lower lows. I'm very comfortable continuing to short this. If we keep staying below the 90 MA, I'll short the pops on this SPOT. It is on my side chart. I have some chips as well on my side chart. Got SOX L, which, of course, the levered version of SMCH. And then SMCH. I married SMCI and SMH in my brain. It is the levered version of SMH, semiconductor index here. But NVIDIA and AMD looking distinctly different from one another to some extent. NVIDIA here, NVIDIA looks like a long to me a little bit here. NVIDIA's the higher lows on this, just to skosh. Right now, bouncing a bit off the 90 MA with these topping tail candles. AMD, on the other hand, I keep missing these shorts here as we get lower lows or lower highs. So we're at that 156.20. Now we are kind of bouncing off VWAP and this previous area of resistance around 155.60. But I like this level. I'm going to stop yapping now, but I have some levels I like. If there's any stocks you want to hear people yap about, though, on the afternoon show, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever stock you want to look at. Maybe it's Spotify, maybe it's Coca-Cola, they had earnings. Maybe it's Gimme, maybe it's GM, maybe it's AMP. I don't know. You guys know what tickers you like. If you don't want to see, we got a fly swatting around in our screen. If there's any tickers swatting around in your mind, flopping around there, get involved, get them out of your head and get them into that chat. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Amazon, stop looking at me like that. How are you doing?
Love it. Yo, KNSA is on a ride right now. It has not broken the 10 exponential, let's see, since ever? No. Obviously, I'm kidding by that. It's up 27 some odd %. It is a bit of a spready name, but look at this direction. I mean, how can you argue with this? This is, I mean, let me just refresh for whatever reason my 20 exponentials timing out. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it touched it once over here, the 20 exponential at 10.05, but look where the closing print was, right above the 10 exponential. This thing is going. KNSA. What kind of news headline is this? I didn't even bother looking up the news headline. Okay. Wedbush. Okay, so this was likely an earnings. Okay, so this was earnings, and then it got umpteen amount of upgrades from rating agencies. So that's the look on KNSA. Again, we said it wasn't a small cap gapper, 1.94 billion market cap. It was 1.8 something a few minutes ago when we were talking about it. Now, right now, big move up, 27.62, high of day right now. Wow, this is a real good look for KNSA. Very spready name, though, you can see by how it's trading. So keeping an eye on that. I'm still very much interested in a short on Apple, but I'm just not getting in. So I'm going to have to weasel this in over here because it continues to make lower lows and lower highs. It's not giving me the price level that I want. It's a more short the pop kind of situation than it is to get in on a bottom break. So it keeps popping up, then it will make a newer low. Popping up again, make a newer low and a lower high. So it's a pop up here that I need to be getting in on. So let me look at exact. I'm going to sit at, we're going to go short at 32s over here. We'll put the short there on AAPL. And I'm going to have to DCA into this because I, likely will not get the top of the range. I still feel that this one may be headed to the downside. I'm also keeping an eye on the futures. I see your message, Jay. I'm just going to get to it in 1 second. I'm also keeping an eye on the futures over here because we've been holding up above 20,000 for a little bit, and I really want to see exactly what we do if we break down. So looking over here to see whether we break down, we hold up above that level. So shorting Apple at this level, looking as well at the futures, which is also putting in lower highs and lower lows. And that is my look there. I'm also looking at Microsoft, which is coming into the volume weighted average price. So it's getting a bit of a sell right now, MSFT. As you can see, it's coming into VWAP. It did hold up there last time, around 46 bucks or so is the volume weighted average price on MSFT. I'm waiting at around 21s here on the dead one to print. It's holding up at 26s, now showing me about like 20s or so in and around that area. We'll see if we can get a print. There is a bit of a buyer at 21 for whatever reason there. Come on, bro. There we go. Now we get the fill. Nice move. Now I'm looking for a bit of a bigger move down now. So do I DCA at 40s? I think I will. So we wet our beak on some profits. I will get more in at 40s over here on AAPL. I'm looking for a 20 exponential retracement, which is essentially at the whole dollar right now. It's at 226. So if we can get a move down there, go Apple. There we go. Get it, Katina Man. There it is. So we'll take that a little bit. Shout out to Katina Man, who's printing on Tesla because that broke 248. What do I know about levels, Adara? Because that one dropped 50 cents more than I thought it was holding up. Shout out to the Katina Man, who's $3 in said money. TSLA, beautiful rounded top off the volume weighted average price. And don't forget, this one reports after the bell. And according to Adara, this one reports at 410. And shout out to, I think it was Charlie Taff in the chat, who asked me, he's like, hey, bro, you guys got the implied move on Tesla? Yes, sir, we do at Trader TV. We got what you need, baby. TSLA is a plus or minus 9.5% expected move. We know last time it did very well with the delivery surprise there. It was up 12.1% last time off the bell. And if in case you're wondering, this is the closing print prior to earnings versus the next day's closing print, okay? So that's what we're gauging the expected move by. 9.5% plus or minus here for the Cybertruck, 6.1 and 6.2 for GOG and goggles. Visa, not much over here, 3.6 expected. Coke, we already got, et cetera. But yeah, it's really gonna be Tesla and Alphabet today after the bell that we're gonna keep eyes on, no question about that. UPS already reported. What happened? What happened?
Oh, things are just, if you're in a mix
Get
of a
it.
name, I'm sure you are pleased as punch right now. Sorry, guys, for the frantic talking. We are about 35 pennies in the money there on AMZN. We're out. Okay, pleased as punch with that. I got out because we were bouncing a little bit at 80s. Move down here in the futures. We do not have the auction yet. We've got the auction coming through. That is going to be a 2-year note auction at 1 p.m. So that's not the re-auction. That's just a move down here. I am red in the face, guys. I am pleased as punch. I mean, I think the only phrase I can say while trading Amazon is, oh boy.
Oh boy.
We did have here, I should have gotten involved in this earlier. I saw this topping tail candle, saw we couldn't get above 60. I said, Adara, try this short. But then I said, Adara, you lost last time in the short because you were too aggressive. So wait. Then we get into that 188.20s. We break below. 21 did something for me, got involved at 188.21s, took out half at 188.08s. The plan was to add back in. The futures had other plans, and I said, you know, futures,
something happened.
Do your thing. Is there news?
No, I don't see anything, but yeah. That's
sorry, guys. I
crazy.
just got really excited. I apologize. I will calm down. But sometimes, you know, as Sean said, sometimes you're enthusiastic about these markets, and I don't really think that's always necessarily a bad thing. Trader Forever keeps coming back to 481. Not good. That gap below still has the magnet lit. Thank you. Thanks for that, Trader Forever. Honestly, yeah, I'm not even that caffeinated, guys. It is all. I am caffeinated on these here markets, but that is fair too. We do have ongoing geopolitical stuff in the U.S. that could be playing a role.
Yeah, no, it wasn't really nothing yet. All I'm seeing is I was just looking at my news blotter to see what's afoot, and I got a Kamala Harris perspective VP picks. All seem to support cannabis legislation. The people that she's looking to have as potential running mates. Nothing that we don't know, because we all recall her debate with Mike Pence, where she was very vocal for legalization. I'm just keeping an eye on any news items. Not seeing anything just yet. We'll keep my eye. We'll look later to see what we have in terms of global headlines, geopolitical. I know Big Spile. I know you're printing. As soon as the market tanks, right away, Big Spile is in the chat. Shout out to him, man. Please punch for him printing there. Big Spile Burdette, always looking at the spy, and hence the nickname Spile Burdette. And so, if in case you're wondering and you're looking for futures levels, when the Katina Man and Daniil are on, have a look at what him and Dan the Man Emmons in the chat. They're always giving you the different futures levels here. All right, so let's, yeah, he's back. Breakaway gaps is what we're talking about all week long. Before we go on, shout out to you, Jay. Shout out to you. I see it. Jay Lee absolutely printing up a storm on PGHL. Keep an eye out for Jay's trades as well. But we're talking about breakaway gaps today, so traders gather around, figuratively, of course. Today, we'll delve into the exciting world of breakaway gaps, potential signals for those explosive price movements. So let's get right to it. Essentially, what are breakaway gaps? Yeah, I know. I need a little water.
Me too.
I'm sorry. So imagine a price chart, a price trapped within a range on a chart. For weeks, days, whatever, it doesn't really matter, okay? Suddenly, a gap appears, propelling the price above resistance or below support. That's the breakaway gap, right? A significant jump in the price with no trading activity between the breakout level and the bottom of the gap or the price action, suggesting to you that their breakout could a breakout of the established trend could be taking place. And here's what it looks like on the chart. So you'll have, you know, a clear area of consolidation where you're putting in lower highs, and then boom, one day you wake up, you open up your portfolio, and you're up nicely. And you look at the price chart, and there's a gap in between the closing price of the prior day and the opening price of today. And that's essentially what we're talking about there, a gap that breaks above a key area or breaks below a key area of resistance or support. And it should be accompanied with outsized volume, above average volume, and your assessment on whether the volume is above average should be taking place locally. So you should be looking at the volume bars next to it on the left and right. And here's exactly what it looks like on a bearish setup. So you're putting in higher lows, you're putting in higher highs, everything's great. The opposite happens here. You wake up, you're down big in your personal account, and you make a new trend to the downside, breaking that key area of technical support, that diagonal blue triangle. All right, line, excuse me. So why do breakaway gaps matter? First and foremost, they are predictive of trends. They break out of consolidative areas and start new trends. So breakaway gaps often signal a break from a consolidation period or a trend reversal. A gap above resistance indicates bullish momentum, while a gap below supports indicates bearish pressure. Increased volume as well typically accompanies these breakaway gaps. So that's important as well. Breakaway gaps typically accompanied by a surge in trading volume, signifying to you strong buying or selling pressure behind the price move. But it's also important because of the psychological impact that it can have on the market. Breakaway gaps can attract new market participants, further fueling the breakout momentum. Now, understanding what new market participants means here and the implications of such, we need to explain that. So new money coming into the market rather than recycled money is very, very bullish because, I mean, it's coming in, you're not really recycling. It's not the same person adding. And so you've got fresh set eyes, fresh biases. And so it's typically good for the market. So new market participants as a result of these breakaway gaps and outsized volume. And here's what it looks like when it's been trading in a zigzag range. We have basically a key area of resistance, a key area of support, and then boom, there you go. You get the key move above it, above that key area of resistance, and you continue to make higher highs and higher lows subsequent to the gap. In addition to that, it's also accompanied by increased volume. And here's a look at a real chart. This is Starbucks back in 09, whatever, stuck within a range. Boom, you get that breakout gap. It continues to make higher highs and higher lows subsequent to the gap. In addition to that, it has a large volume increase, which you can gauge by looking at the volume bars left and right of the one. Well, usually you'll be looking left because you won't have anything on the right. And this is a chart for LinkedIn back before it was acquired by Microsoft. Again, you have this bit of a range, but most notably here, what helps your assessment is that you have the moving average pointing upwards. In addition to that, you're trading above the 50. So you've got some decent looks here that are also helping support the proposition that this won't be a false breakout, that you'll continue to trend higher. Obviously, the most important assessment of that is whether after the breakout, you continue to make higher highs and higher lows. You don't want to see that gap get filled and the volume to drop off and the price to make a new low. You need to see that continuation in order to know that a new trend has started. So I kind of just alluded to this, but false breakouts are part and parcel of trading these breakout gaps. And so it behooves us to talk about it. So sometimes breakaway gaps can be misleading. The price might quickly reverse direction, creating what we know to be called a false breakout. Here are some methods that help you identify potential false breakouts. First and foremost, limited follow through after the gap. So if the price struggles to maintain the momentum after the breakaway gap and fails to make new highs and new lows, or higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows, because if it's bear, it could be sign of a weak breakout or breakdown. Also, lower volume after the gap, also very instructive here as well. A surge in volume accompanies most true breakouts. If the volume fizzles out after the breakaway gap, it might indicate to you a lack of conviction behind the move. And goes without saying that confirmation is key here. You need to be looking at other technicals like moving averages, what the RSI is doing, what the MACD is doing. We're not going to tell you which ones to use, but you need to make sure that you are not just concentrating your entire trade on one signal vis-a-vis the gaps. It should be on more technicals. All right, so how do you trade these breakaway gaps? What's the move here? So I'll suggest to you two possible entry points. The first is going to be the easiest one. Once you get that breakout gap the next day, you see basically, does it have upsized volume? Is the moving average pointing up, or whatever other technicals you're using? If you check all those boxes, go ahead and punch in. But that's still risky because it can fail. So the other method here is to wait for a pullback. So breakaway gaps can offer potential entry points in the direction of the breakout. However, waiting for a pullback after the gap for confirmation and to identify stronger entries can be prudent. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second on the chart. Stop loss placement, also very important here. Breakaway gaps often create new support and resistance levels. Placing your stop loss orders below the gap for long positions and above the gap for short positions can help you manage risk. And the measured move plays an important role here. And we did an entire week on the measured move. So if you want to understand what this is, go back to the YouTube homepage for Trader TV. Use that search feature, type in measured move, and it'll come up. But the concept of the measured move, essentially what it's allowing you here, the technique estimates the potential price target based on the size of the gap. So that's just a very rudimentary way to explain that. You can have a bit of a deeper dive if you want. And here's what I'm talking about waiting for the pullback. So clearly this is the consolidation area top, and then we gap bigly through that top right up here. Now, you could punch in long here, right at this area over here, and then ride the trend up. Or you could be a bit more prudent or a bit more risk averse and wait for it to trend back. At the very most, it has to hold the top end of the consolidation. Now, if it breaches that top end of the consolidation, I would say get out there, but at most it should retrace to here. Most of the times, though, it doesn't retrace back to there. I'll give you an example, Caterpillar. So this didn't gap, but I want to make this point over here because I was in Caterpillar. Obviously, this is the biggest trade that I've had of the year so far. Let me show you on the daily here quickly. All right, so I was of the opinion, and I talked to Neil about this quite a bit, and as well as Brendo, 300 was a very important level for me on Caterpillar. You can see we rejected it August 2023, and then multiple times in the fall of 2023, we came back in the late winter, early winter of this year. We rejected it there as well. Then we got a breach of 300. So I was like, look, fantastic. Caterpillar is making lower lows, lower highs. We go all the way down to 313, but we don't come back to 300. 313 wasn't an area of interest to anybody. It was really that 300. The whole point of what I'm trying to say is sometimes when you wait for that retracement to come back in to that key area of previous technical resistance, it doesn't make it quite down there. So you may have to actually front run it a little bit or, get in half the size and be ready to DCA at that level. Dollar cost average is what DCA means. So that's the look there, guys. And just to leave you with one final thought, breakaway gaps are powerful signals, no question, but use them with caution, proper risk management, and a critical eye to avoid those false breakouts, Adair.
Yeah, thank you so much to Sharif for that. And I like the practical example of Caterpillar. Shout out to Sean Katina there with his trades as well. But it is always cool if we can, when there's practical examples in the wild. And I think sometimes, you see these things in the wild and you don't realize you've seen them until after the fact. So I wanted to shout out Sharif for A, that Caterpillar trade, and B, that example. I'm looking for some mean reversions over here. Because why not? There are two names I have eyes on for mean reversion trades. One of them is Amped. I wanted that. I changed my mind about this though. I saw these topping tail candles, and that's why I was kind of like, eh. But I initially liked it as a potential long here around that 155.20. Why? Bottoming tail candle, bottoming tail candle, bottoming tail candle. The book was at one point holding 155.20 as well. I canceled my order. I didn't think I was going to get filled. Looks like I would have. I don't know. I don't feel good enough about this to be involved. And you want to be confident, but if you're not confident, why am I taking a trade? Or not, whatever. Confidera, shout out to Darwin for Confidera. But if there's any stocks you're confident or confident about or whatever, Fly, can you please leave?
So annoying, bro.
Get in that chat, vote, exclamation point, join, space, $ Fly. No, I'm joking. SIRA, SARI. I saw some people talking about Siri in the chat. GME, Fly, I will murder you. Any, apologies to YouTube for that.
I will actually kill it. And I can get away with it.
Get in the chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker you like. This Tesla, though, as I was mentioning, I liked initially as a bit of a long here off the 247. It could have been a pop. I took like 25, 30 pennies on the short, but I want to short this again now that we've tried that long and we failed. We are back below 247 decisively. You know what? I want smoke, Sharif.
Get it, Adara.
I want smoke. Tesla, I don't think it's going to give me said smoke, but if Tesla gives me said smoke, it's on. I want to see what we do here at 247.20s, but like you guys know, I don't like using hard stops. I would much rather be seeing what I do here on the book. Also, I'm not going to get filled in Tesla, but Los Exotic, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat, Lulu, for long-term play. Shout out to Lulu. I've got a friend who works at Lululemon actually, and she's always telling me about the new stuff they have. So Lulu, certainly, stretching itself into a whole new dimension all the time. Lots of diversity in terms of what that company is doing, what they're trying to bring. Lots of always new energy, always different stuff. I did get filled on Tesla, so I'm going to have to babysit him. But Lulu long term, I got to say that there's this level I don't love here, and it's going to be 295. we had this area of support. We pop up here. Oh, Lulu, you're going to make me do pushbacks, but not in a good way. 350. We had some support at 350. Then we reject 350. We sloop lower. We've been below the 90 MA decisively since late June, guys. This is not a great look here. Lower highs, lower lows. Then why I did that initial at 295 is, look, we wicked into 295 4 times on the daily chart. Every time we sold off. I've got to be honest, I am only seeing lower highs and lower lows. There's a lot of bearishness for me on Lulu. I think if we can stretch back above 295, that would be the look for me on Lulu. That was an area of support, flip to resistance. If it can flip back to support, I would love that. Right now, then I'm going to take a quick look to see how my Tesla is doing. How are you doing over here, Sharif? What are you looking at?
We're good. I'm looking at Apple. I'm long right now on SPWR. It did break down below $1, but there was a double bottom there at around 97 pennies, and then it reclaimed $1. So I'm seeing if this one can weasel its way back up. I've got my stop below that $1. So if it does break down from the $1, that's it. That's the end of that. I'm also looking at Apple and Tesla. I like your shorted there. I'm also liking this look here on AAPL. It's stuck within a bit of a range here, 225 1/3 to 225 2/3. I'm unsure exactly what it's doing down here, whether this is just a momentary consolidation before a bigger Huadun. We're at 19.9. 1 second, I just want to update that. We're at 19.9.5 right now on the future, 19,950. So yeah, we're basically towards the low end of the the range today. I didn't mean to say consolidation range. This is what I'm talking about right here. So trough at 8:30, trough 9:30, trough almost 10, and then another trough 11:30. Each one a little bit higher than its predecessor. So I'm thinking we likely hold up a little bit over here. That's just my guess, and that's all that it is, a guess. Okay, so we'll see exactly what we do at around this level on the future. Yeah, that is interesting right there because we keep coming right back into those lows. But here's the thing, guys. We put in higher highs on our ascents. We don't put in lower lows on our descents. That can change. So I'm pointing that out for now. So this could be an interesting look here, possibly on some of these Mag 7 names, if we get a hold up at this level over here on the future, no question about it. So keeping my eye there. Let's go back quickly and have a look at what this one is doing. It's $1.09. Not much happening there. Yeah, this interesting area on the future, but really we're not breaking out quite yet. So I don't want to punch long right now on Apple. In fact, I'd probably punch short over here. Yeah, quite frankly, because it's still stuck within the range. So I'm undecided at the moment. What are you guys looking at? Tell me what you guys are looking at. I'll be happy to look at it for you. Tyrone Hamilton says he took RGC short. Sellers have to be losing it right now. Okay, so I'm assuming RGC is flying. RGC, let's see what this one is doing. I don't have RGC. Oh, it's taking its sweet time to load up. I'll look at that in a second. Shane O'Mac, I love that name. Shout out to Shane O'Mac. Yeah, says Mara. Oh my God, Mara's down 8.39%. That's a disaster. Yeah, shout out to BPI, Big Patty Ice, baby. The Mara Whisperer today. He was trading that one. Let's have a look at MARA. I don't know why all these charts are not loading. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just waiting for this bad boy to load. Yeah, you have to forgive me for that. It always seems to have a problem with Mara. Yeah, Mara, not a good look today. Essentially, any pop-up, you short the pop, and it's been money. Most of the prints rejected off the 10 exponential. There did seem to be some support at around this 22.15, 22.20, but that broke down. I'd short that pop if that came in. Interesting look, though. On Mara, let's see what the future's doing. Still very much undecided around this 19,950. Packing my patience on this trade. What are you looking at, Adair?
Yeah, so I am short AMD right now. Right. I took a slightly larger size than I did with my last AMD trade because this one I do have a little bit more confluence for. And I want to talk about it. I say this and now it's doing things, but basically why I liked it was, look at all these topping tail candles we have. We had to move down. Now we're getting a little bit of a curl. I've called this the umbrella pattern. I find it usually resolves short, is what I found. When you have a move down, you got a little bit of a curl, and then Now, also, another piece of confluence I like for my umbrella handle pattern is when we get our little curl, our umbrella handle, if you will, into a previous area of interest. And with that, look at this massive, like this was VWAP too. This crazy 155.20 area we had here earlier. Resistance, support. Then we find it as a bit of a chop and churn area. I want to see what we do here at 40s, that 155.40 area. I'm aware that we could actually be curling up here, and my umbrella candle pattern could be for naught. You know what I mean? It could very much not be raining today, and I don't need my umbrella, and that's fine. But I really do feel good about this look. We do have all of this clear rejection here of anything decisively above 155.40. So if that's the case, it's something I want to get involved in. I'm cool with taking out part of this position just above 155s. I'll save a piece for the dream, which is not something I always do. And because I find certain names you can't do it, like Tesla, there are no dreams in Tesla. Adara, don't save pieces of the dream for Tesla. But if you're looking at something like AMD or AMD, as Sharif has called it, sometimes you are able to have pieces for dreams. I want to be cognizant of that little curl that we could be having, but for me, right now, it still looks bearish. I don't know if I want all that smoke quite yet. There could still be some qualms, but I want some smoke. I ended up taking 10 pennies on my Tesla short, which is basically the most Tesla would have given you at that time. It's been super choppy, churny, but happy I was able to take it. AMZN, I wanted to short this at 79s. We I think, got to like 75s while I was looking at it, and then we dropped. Great looking at AMZN. If we keep curling below VWAP with these topping tail candles, I think you guys know how much smoke I want. It's all about it. I want express delivered smoke, Sharif. I want expedited smoke, next day delivery here. I want that smoke on its way, Zos. That's what I want over here. And again, guys, if there's any tickers you want to pine about, or scream about, or call a punk, and you want to hear what Neil and Sean have to think about it, go in the chat, !join space, $, whatever tickers you're fancy. If you want that, hear that Neilage, that confidence, you guys get involved in there and you put your ticker on there. So let's see what happens here. Oh, I like this. Donnie's involved. I don't know if this is about AMD or Amazon, but Adara, are you ever nervous about the potential for a retrace? I've seen some of that trend in the afternoon session. I scalp, so I'm going to be honest. Like, I think there has been a lot of retracement in the afternoon. For my purposes, though, I'm not looking like 2 hours ahead. For the most part, for my trades, I'm looking like, what are we going to do in like 10 minutes? Or max, because I've had some trades where I've gotten in and out in like, a minute, 2 minutes in video when it was at 900.
Wow.
To give you some great trades in like a minute, you could you could be out $4 in a minute too, but you'll also be in $4 in a minute. So good old days reminiscent here, but another chip named AMD. I like the short here. Yeah, that Mara was wild. Saw sell here below 9 EMAs. I'm just looking to see what else is. EWIM. IWM being kind of interesting. I had a couple trades, probably took these on a bit of an IWM, though this long was not a bad idea. I just should not have gotten involved near highs at the time. Right now, though, we're having a little bit of a thing here with this 122. IWM has been strong on the day. I do not want to short it near highs, but I do, or not near, it's not even near highs, Adara. Come on. My brain is not on. We've got Sean and Neil at the big desk, and IWM is not near highs. Wake up. Let's go. Let's have some coffee. But yeah, AMD not waking up, so I'm happy with that. IWM, though, interesting around 122. Don't have a read on it yet, but if we keep popping into 122 and rejecting, I'll take a 20 penny scalp. That's not a problem for me. Tesla still being interesting around 247. What? I see you are in two trades. You got your Sun Power powering up and your TQs. Yeah, we're trying both of these. I'm getting in the low end of the range here on the TQQs for the holdup. But I want to shout out Big Spile Burdette, Sharif. Chris Brecher likes watching the Dow Jones transports for insights. I'll get to that in a second. It has lost its low of the day and continues to move down. Precursor for ESPY move possibly. Fantastic thing you bring up there, Big Spile, because anybody who's read Dow theory knows exactly what, the Dow dude, I think what the hell was his name? James Dow or I forget. I read it, I promise. Dow. His name's Dow.
Yeah, his name's Dow. So he would use essentially transports as a leading indicator for industrials. We all know the Dow Jones Industrials and the Dow Jones Transports. So he was of the opinion that it was a precursor. How the railroads did was basically front running. It was foreshadowing how industrials would do. So he would always look at the connection between those two. Now it's kind of like, I wouldn't use I wouldn't use it like that personally, because I don't think the railroads are reflective of the overall economy like they were possibly when Dow was back. So I love your idea. It's not one that's unique to Chris Brecher. I can promise you that, because it's in Dow theory. Anybody who's read Dow theory knows all about that. But yeah, fantastic. Mentioned there, Big Smile. Thank you for mentioning that. Shout out to Adam Deleuze, baby. Number 285. Let's go. I love how you keep track, Adam, because you're always mentioning what number it is on the day. So here we go. We're waiting at 112 over here, Ram, for SPWR to wet our beaks a little bit on some profits, but we're likely going to have to cross that 112. We're printing nicely over here on the future. All right, so we got in 75. We're at 97s now. Go, baby, go. So I want to see something maybe around 20,000 over here. All right. Now it could be a VWAP 19,991, but the closing print from yesterday on the NQ September contract is 20,000. I realize I'm trading the T triple Qs, but I'm charting off the NQ September contract, hence why I'm looking at that. So let's move back here into SPWR, have a look. Big boy size, well, big boy for $1 stock, waiting at that 111. I still haven't seen any 112s where any of the players dwell on the tape over here. I'm looking to see whether any of them, we're seeing 110s, 110.5, 111, and change. A lot of mid prints coming in right now, but nothing above 11s. No 11 mid prints, actually. Everything maxing out at 11. So it's always really important to have all the tools at your disposal. And here we go, now showing 12s, baby. Oh, baby, could we get the print? We're probably not first in priority because we just put out that order there. So I'm waiting on SPWR up a cool, a gnarly, an easy 56.5% here. And I still have no idea why. SPWR. Oh, we didn't get the fill and it rejected. All right, well, this is maintained a sell by Goldman. I made this point very clear. SunPower price target cut by 50 cents to 50 cents, excuse me, from $2 by Goldman Sachs. They maintain their sell rating on that. And yeah, it's not a good look. Anyway, back to the future over here. So we don't, nobody got that? Back to the future.
Oh, back to the future. Because I would say back to the future. Yeah, I like that.
This is still a range. I'm not getting out of this range, by the way. Even though if it's coming down to my area, I want to see if the range breaks. If it breaks through 60, we'll take it out there. But I'm waiting over here, Adara, to see what we got.
Yeah, some bamboozlements, what I'm getting over here on my side of this here desk. I want to show you Sharif, though, on his awesome future trade. Back to the future is right. It's getting powered up with SunPower.
Hey.
There are words. This one, AMD. So I got short AMD 155.18. And this is another example of, Adara, you always said you don't like using stops based on price levels. And that's what I did in AMD. I was like, oh, let's see what we do at 155.40s. Yeah, got out 155.40s, la-da-da-da-da. It's all good. I lost on the trade. I am always, though, ready to find some more opportunities and find some more ways to get involved here. Amazon, interesting to me. I liked it as a short, took it as a short, but now we're kind of curling a bit around VWAP, just a skosh, as we get that move up in the futures. And again, I want to shout out Sharif's awesome futures trade on that. So this Amazon, I don't mind the higher lows we're seeing here on the book. Now we're bouncing off 60s. We're also bouncing off VWAP. Is this going to be a bounce or is it going to be a flounce? If it's a bounce, I would like to go long here, and I think it is going to be a bounce. I'm going to try to get involved with 66s. I'm going to be piecing in and out as we go because that's usually going to be my vibe. Let's take Route 66 to the upside here, maybe on Amazon. Like Tom R, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You guys are great. Appreciate you both. You are great. We appreciate everybody here in this here chat. Such a great community. And I'm honestly, I know I always sound like I'm giving an Oscar speech, but I'm so happy to be here and I have the opportunity to learn every single day because, yeah, why not, right? Happy if anyone's able to like learn and be with us here every single day. That is always a great look and feels awesome for us. So thank you, Tom. Or also AMD, what you doing here? I don't know. I'm not rushing into that short yet. That Amazon long, I really like. I think it's Amazon for me. Nah, wow, that didn't work. Someone needs caffeine. But also the markets might get some caffeine in a couple minutes here. We're getting that 2-year auction coming through at 1 p.m. So I will sip my coffee as the market waits for its big old coffee. PGHL, though, I want to look at, too, because PGHL was that recent IPO. This one is a multi-halter. It is an IPO. It's up 113%. This one, and I remember I brought this one to the big desk. We opened here at, I think, 560s. We ended up gapping down. I think the tap at the time was 490. Looks like we opened around that 490 area when we reopened. But yeah, this is a health-related small cap. I believe it was Primera Group Holdings, PGHL. They were IPOing 6 million shares. Supposed to open around $4 a share. Ended up opening more than that, as we said. But nice little look there. Also, shout out to Seth, who was shouting out your giggles at my puns. We make each other laugh, and I think that's one of the best things you could do. So shout out to the show and community. And if you're in Primera, this PGHL is a pretty good look for you.
Yeah, no, Adara doesn't wait till the show comes on to start punning. As soon as I get in, Neil, we usually wait a little bit until we all wake up, but the puns they come fast and furious right from the get-go. So I like it. All right, now we're still, not a good look here on SPWR. So quite frankly, here's the look. Breaks $1, I'm out. So we almost got filled at 112, we didn't. So it's a loser for now. We're long at 107s. But here it is at 103, so out of the money, quite frankly. So we're going to see exactly what we get, and we won't get upset with these levels. But the break of $1, and I'm gonzino on this one. I'm still waiting on the future. I like this range that it's putting in. I don't necessarily like it, but I don't see anything to help me get out of this. And I've already put my stop on the lower end of the range through the break of 60. So if we get that break through decidedly 19,950 on the NQ September contract, I will be out. But I'm looking for that range to hold up and to possibly curl into 20,000. That's my bias at the guess. Rick, I think TQQQ will drop down to 73.39. I hope for my sake it doesn't. But hey, man, if that's your analysis. That's your analysis. I respect it. Now act upon it. I'm acting upon mine. We'll see if I can get my look there. I'm looking for generally, so it'll be around right here. So about 74.15, 74.20. We'll see if I get it. Scott H, GRI. I see it, Scott. 44%. This one's moving bigly over here. Let's bring in this side chart and replace one of these dead small cap gappers with one that's currently alive. BBLG, you're gone. GRI. Let's put in GRI. Nice move. So this one popped initially there at 10:30, Scott. Big boy Huadunk held, though, the closing print from the prior day. So let's put in GRI over here so everyone can follow along our analysis. So Scott, yeah, you can see 1025, all the smoke came on this one, but then it was as good as it was going to get. It does, though, hold the closing print from yesterday, which was around $1.61. That ends up being the low of the day. Then for whatever reason, the fire came in fast and furious and pushed it to a new high day, 257. But look how it's trading, Scott. I mean, I don't have a read on this. Where am I supposed to get in? I mean, it's zigging and zagging every which way. So I'm going to leave it on there until it shows me a discernible trend. Maybe we can weasel our way into this. It looks good. Thank you for pointing it out, Scott. But it's going to have to figure itself out anyway. Keeping an eye on the future as the future is zigging and zagging a little bit. We're still not above the level I'm looking for. We're still not below the level I'm looking for. But what I do see, very importantly, is a very negatory look on some of these names. The Mag 7. NVIDIA just broke local lows, or is at local lows, I should say, at that 122.90, trying to hold 123. It held it essentially at 10 to 11 over here, so I don't want to see this one really flush because I don't think the market stays up without NVIDIA. Also, Tesla, very much still near lows at around 246.5. It really still hasn't come down into that 246 area. Low of the day, 245.63. So it's also showing you its propensity to come lower. And the soft one, I've got to keep my eye here on the future. I did get stopped out there as the flat bottom break came in fast and furious on the future. And we do give up 19,950. So we've already been negative on the future. Now we're a negative 1/3%. So I was able to de-risk for a nice 20 penny winner, but we end up losing here another 15 penny winner as the flush came in fast and furious. Look at the future head down, all sorts of weakness. NVIDIA gave up 123 quicker than you can say hello. And now Tesla at 246. We were just talking about that. There we go. Big moves. Downside in this market. Apple trying to hold up at the volume weighted average price. Same thing with Amazon. It's trying to hold up at VWAP. Google's Google's zigging and zagging. It's up 0.5. I guess people are still waiting for earnings. So all sorts of weakness coming in midday, guys. Shout out to Big Spile, who's probably printed up a storm on that side of the screen as the market comes down today.
You know what's really fun, Sharif? When you have an idea and you've got a position that you like, and you want to scalp it, you want to take a little bit more size because you want to scalp, and it fills one single share.
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Yeah.
It's funny. Remember that halt I got into last week?
Oh my gosh,
that dollar?
yeah.
It was like one share. Hilarious. Hilarious.
But yeah, so I did end up taking, though, about 30 pennies on that share. So I could not complain. I know we don't usually talk about share size, but that was so funny to me. I was
Get
like,
it,
you know
Sean.
what? I want to share that. How are you doing, Sean?
He's printing up a storm on Tesla, obviously.
Spinning off a store in Tesla. Shout out to Sean there. TSLA, kind of interesting to be 246.20. I'm considering a long scalp, but Tesla is so weak. I would definitely have to have faster fingers to do that, and I don't know if that's what I want to do. Day trader cut, yes, I am very ready for that auction. We're going to see what the re-auction is. In about 1 minute and 20 seconds, we are getting a 2-year note auction. So we're going to be waiting for that re-auction, see how that goes there.
Get it,
but if there's any tickers you want to look at heading into that auction, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it's TQs, maybe it's SPWR. I'm just saying Sharif tickers now. Maybe it's Apple. Maybe you want to look at Tesla. Maybe you want to look at ADIL. Maybe that new small cap PGHL is tickling your fancy. I don't know. You guys know what tickers you like. Whatever tickers you like, get in that chat and vote for them. Make your voice heard. Shout out to Real Trading. Also, if you want to see what tickers Sean and Neil are looking at, more Trader TV Live. It is our second channel. And that is how you can see what those lovely individuals to our right are looking at. Also, AMD did have the umbrella handle pattern. And I didn't get that short because I got out there. But it's all good, baby. It's not a dream, but it's not a nightmare either. It's just a sleep. And sometimes sleep can just be sleep. And that's what's happening here.
Ram, love that.
Rami's laughing. As someone who sleeps a lot, I think I'm pretty well versed. I think I can definitely drop some more sleep metaphors. So let's see what we get here on AMD, getting a little bit clubbed to the downside here on this one. If we keep rejecting 500, I have some qualms. But I mostly don't have qualms on taking this short. Okay. It is 1 p.m. We are waiting to see what that re-auction is going to be here. EWM curling back to 222. I'm honestly just looking short here, guys. I'll be shorting pops. But Spotify and Shopify, because they both have VFIs. I always think of them as one another. Spotify trying really hard to get back to this 328, 329 area here. I don't want to short this yet. I had a trade on this one earlier that worked out, so I don't want to rush into this, but Spotify is still weak. If we bounce off the 90 MA, maybe a decent long opportunity here, but we're just waiting to see what that auction reaction is going to be on this market. RL says bullish on Tesla after closing. Too many bears out there. I don't blame you for waiting to make sure those Cybertruck doors are shut for the bears until earnings, potentially. I don't know. As a bear, I might be hopping into Cybertruck again. But yeah, all jokes aside, Tesla earnings tonight should be interesting. I'm waiting for that re-auction, but I will definitely let us know when we see that. How are you doing?
Good. I just want to let everybody know that the current print on the 2-year continuous contract, I always chart the continuous contract for the yields, 4.446. Now, we've made this mistake in the past where we've compared the auction price or the auction result to what it printed last time. The correct way to do it is to compare it to what it was trading prior to the auction. And right now it's at 4.446. That is the continuous contract. And I should mention that the levels on the continuous contract might be different than on the expiration contract. So the way that I can do it is go 2-year and then go to futures. And what I do is typically choose a continuous contract. The July one is the one with all the volumes. So we'll look at what July is doing the same thing, 4.446. So we still don't have the result because this thing hasn't moved yet. We will report that to you guys as soon as it does come out. And shout out to everybody in the chat who helps us with the result because sometimes we don't see it on our side that quick. Now, I set up a dip trade on SPWR at 102. I didn't get filled. Reason I put a dip trade there because it was an obvious area of consolidation that we used as resistance prior to breaking it out bigly there when we moved into 12s. So I was like, okay, great, let me add at this level, and then I'll basically put, here we go. So let's see if I get filled over here. I've been waiting for a hot minute. Let's see if it does come back. It's at 102, the bid, but I'm not getting printed. So we'll pack our patience to see if we do get printed. Nothing below 98s though, so it's gonna have to hold 98, and you can see
we got the auction here. Thank you, Day Trader Cut, for sharing this with us. The high yield 4.434% versus the previous at 4.7. So this could be lower. Yeah, and then the higher for the bid to cover slightly higher. So thank you, Day Trader Cut, for sharing that with us and giving us the cut on that. I don't know, that worked better in my head.
That's good.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're absolutely right. So we were right here, 4.446. This is exactly where we were prior to the auction, and here's where we are now. We're trading at 4.440. So this is the July contract, the 2-year July 31st contract for the 2-year yield. Okay, so now I did get filled at 102s on SPWR. So it's going to have to hold 98. If it doesn't hold 98, there is no smoke on this side of the desk, and I will be getting out. Apple broke the volume weighted average price, and now it's coming down into 225. So it should have held on to that short. That's for dang sure at 226.40. This one's on the way down. Big move, selling off the news midday that it was basically looking to adopt a foldable version of the iPhone to be released sometime in 2026. This isn't price action support though, this 225. We have a crest there at 1020. I'm going long here on Apple, and I'm going to give it a bit of room there.
Yeah, I'm seeing Tesla curling up to me. I like that 247.20 is a potential pop, but I didn't want to rush into it because, like I said, my read on things today has not been the best unless I'm doing quick, like mostly short scalps. So let's take a look at this here. Also, I want to clarify this red triangle. This actually is a this was a short. It just was a part fill, as I mentioned, a whole one share. So that's why that's red and not purple. But also, we're going to do the lessons soon here. I'm going to just wait a little bit to see what else this market is doing. AMD, you want to still stay at my level?
AMD.
AMD, come on, AMD. Okay, AMD is still rejecting here at this 155.20 area, even as the market tries to curl. I'm going to take a smaller position because I trust my read on this less, once bitten, twice shy. All of that, sayings, but you don't want to get burned once you've been burned before. I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on this AMD. If we could stay below 20s, I don't want that much smoke, hence small position, but I want some smoke, so we're going to price that order there. If we can get to 155s, I'll get out. And I have no, I don't really want to add to this. Probably should add a larger position so I could have pieced out, but it's all good, baby. We'll see if this is a dream or a nightmare here on AMD. Yes, I know I keep using that juicy line, but the market is so juicy, guys. This is, we got notorious earnings tonight as well. Tesla should be pretty BIG, as should Google. Tesla, oh my gosh, you want to give me the 247? Okay, if we reject at 247 here, this could be a nice spicy short. I've been shorting basically every pop in and about and around that 247 level. AMD is below 155. Okay, AMD, you want to get lower? I don't want to, you don't want to be too greedy here, but if I can get like 20 pennies, I'd be certainly happy with that. I'll take 12 to 15 if need be, because it looks like we are trying to hold on to that 155 level. This has been quite a fun day. I had, some rough trades earlier in the day, but what's great about the market is you have opportunities. If you see stuff you like, you can go after it and trade it. I took 20 pennies on A to the M to the D. If we keep rejecting that area, I will continue to play it. That is without question. Tesla, though, let's see where you're continuing our Questla to the downside potentially. Let's see what we do here at 247s, though, because this could be a bit of a chop and churn area. What we saw earlier today is we had that chop, that churn, and eventually picked a direction to the upside. I am seeing higher lows on TSLA, so I want to be cognizant of that. For my purposes, higher lows in the book are going to be a bit of a no-go. Shout out to Michael Noss yesterday talking about the trade ideas go, no-go indicator. Definitely shout out to our sponsor at Trade Ideas. My go, no-go indicator is always going to have to do with what I see in the book. If I see stuff I don't like, I'm not necessarily want to be getting involved. But that 247, it's dipped into it. We're holding it decently on the book with higher lows. I don't know how much smoke I want. I'm not going to take a huge position, but I do want to scalp this pot because, Sean talks a lot about confidence. I know that, Sean, are you still short Tesla? Sean is still short Tesla, so I'm going against the sticky note on this. Does not ever feel good. I've never, Sean knows what he's doing with these. Pardon? Oh, so Sean's $3.50 in the money. So this is, not a new short there. Got involved around 250, I am guessing there, 249s. Yeah, but because what I'm trying to do is, going to be different. I think that's one thing we've said a lot as well. You can trade different styles and find profitability as long as you're sticking with what works for you. Right now, we're going to be about, 15, 20 pennies in the money here. We're going to be getting out of this Tesla. Yes, we got out of Tesla here. I took about 20 pennies on TSLA. So what I'm trying to say here is you can trade different styles in different directions as long as you're cognizant of your style. Thank you for the bang button there. Not a huge size on that because I did want to take smaller size. It was a bit counter trend, but I think one really fun thing about these markets is how you can play different directions. Sean's shout out again to him being in the money there with the confidence. I was able to get some money in Tesla as well with, shout out to Darwin with the Confidera. But yeah, happy I was able to take that mean reversion trade. Sometimes the reversion can be mean, as Obi says. In this case, it was actually kind of nice because I trusted myself, and that's one thing you always want to do some of this in this market. Make sure you have the balance of the evidence before you deliver your verdict.
Bang.
And we're going to do the lesson soon, but I want to hear what you're looking at right now.
All right. Well, we're 1 penny in the money, Adara, and I'm very proud of it. At SPWR, I'm kidding, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, look, it's putting in higher lows. So I'm looking for at least a retracement into 112. Last time it did come into 112 where the players definitely do dwell, and it didn't print because it didn't cross into 13s. So I'm gonna keep that in mind if we weasel our way right back up there again, knowing that there is a bit of a seller on the other side of 12. So keeping my eye on that. But, we did get somebody in the chat there astutely put a comment that I happen to agree with very much. And he was like, look, this candle over here that basically stopped me out of my futures position, this was kind of a specialist breakdown where you push through a level and then you reclaim right back into the range. And that's not, unusual for this kind of stuff. We're still holding this bottom end of the range on the future. And we've been holding this area essentially since 8:30 this morning. We haven't made newer lows below that area, but we have made newer highs. So I know we're at the lower end of the range. We're below 20,000, but that doesn't mean that the power hour can't bring, power to this market and curl it back up possibly into 20,000. Now, so we'll wait and see there. I'm not going to be jumping into any trades that take that, but definitely on the lookout for it. Now, I was able to scalp a little bit on Apple as it did dip into 225. I was able to take out 20 pennies super quick, less than 20 pennies, about 19 pennies, but now it's breaking down. So I feel like this is a short on Apple here if it doesn't hold this area, because this is a clear previous area of resistance on the day, now should be acting as support. If it doesn't, then it's a short. And this is the area that I'm talking about. We clearly crest at this area right at 1020. We even put a topping tail candle for good measure to break up through 225 and then break down below 225 to tell you that the closing print was not strong enough to take that 225 level. And that should have been, definitely something to keep in mind of with respect to resistance. Now we come back into it and we're holding that exact level. Now this just happens to be, in my opinion, coincidence that the pivot point runs literally right through resistance and support today to the T, like literally to the penny. And so we'll see if we hold up at this level. If we don't, this is a short on Apple, right? I mean, it already looks like a short on Apple, no question, but we are at that critical area of previously resistance, now support. So we'll see. It's already breaking down now, not on a closing basis, but yeah, Apple is breaking down. If we get a closing print below 225, I'm going short on Apple. New dude booty. All right, so let's have a look here at AMZN. This is another one that's been respecting the volume weighted average price. At least it has. I mean, when it first touched at 1225 till we broke down below it at 105, so a bit over half an hour there of defending at the volume weighted average price, but most notably lower highs and lower lows, so showing you a bit of a micro downtrend despite the fact it's up 2.5% on the day. Yeah, this really looks like it is kind of, we're breaking down now on the futures and on Apple and everything else, so it's kind of a short the pop kind of situation. The one thing that really is going to the high side but is at a critical area of resistance is Meta. Meta, for whatever reason, curling back into the volume weighted average price, an area where we know we had some support earlier before we broke down around 1220. So this could be another possible short the pop situation on one of these Mag 7 names. But Apple is absolutely tanking, and there it gave up the ghost at 225. There it is, right at the 200 exponential on the 5, 224.20, 75 at the moment. It gave way right there. So now I'm looking short, Adara. What's your look?
Okay, well, the SPY here breaking down. I was just saying in the chat, this thing was in a fun little 20 penny range. I took some, I took about 11 cents on it, I'm not gonna lie. I said 11, my lucky number there. So I was able to take about 11 cents on this. Basically that 554.60, mid 60s to 554 mid 40s. We obviously broke below that range now. So I spy some more downside on the S&P 500. But for now, we're gonna talk about our lesson of the day, which is breakaway gaps. So let's take a moment to gather around, traders. Gather around your computer. Gather around wherever you're watching us, because we're going to delve right into the exciting world of breakaway gaps, which give you some potential signals for explosive price movements. I smacked my own nose doing that. Breakaway gaps basically are one example of how you can break free from ordinary price action. So imagine you got a chart trapped within a trading range for weeks, okay? It's like my dream chart. It's like ping-ponging around. We're not doing too much of anything. Then a gap appears, propelling the price above resistance or pushing it below support. Thank you, Ramin.
Get it, Ram.
That's going to be a breakaway gap when you have this move out of a ho-hum, a traditional consolidation, and then we push higher or lower. That's a breakaway gap, and it is a significant jump of the price with no trading activity in between, suggesting a potential breakout or breakdown of an existing trend. Thank you, Josh Plays DFS. I appreciate it. You know, I'm trying to keep things fun and light there, so I do appreciate your comment. I'm always, I like to keep things fun. Yeah, good times. So I think we both try to do that here on this, on this show in general. It's a great community for that. And Trend is always helping us do that as well.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Okay. We're going to calm on with the Trend reference. But yes, we're consolidating here, as you can see. Then we push up higher with this increase in volume. That's going to be a breakaway gap. Then breakaway gap to the bear side. As Sharif said, this is when you wake up, see your positions, and panic, unless you're Alfred, in which case you're going to look for a dip buy. But you've got your bullish trend, you're in an uptrend. Then, out of nowhere, you break to the downside and a new trend begins. But why do these gaps matter? Well, they can be trend breakouts, right? Breakaway gaps will often signal a break from the consolidation period or a trend reversal. A gap above resistance will indicate bullish momentum, while a gap below support suggests bearish pressure. What about increased volume, though? Because breakaway gaps are usually going to be accompanied by a surge in trading volume, which can signify strong buying or selling pressure behind the price move. Sometimes you'll get these on earnings. A lot of times in small caps, they'll like for days, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, we had this new patent, and you see an increase in volume. You have more eyes on it. Maybe it's heavily shorted, and so any news on that will also give you increased volume, right? So anything where it's going to be some new eyes on it with some volume, that's worth noting because of the psychological impact with these breakaway gaps. Breakaway gaps can attract new market participants, which can further fuel the momentum of the breakdown. One person gets involved, their friends get involved, their Twitter followers get involved, everybody's getting involved, we're all trading it together as a happy family, and the psychological impact can increase this whole new trend aspect of your breakaway gap. So let's talk as well about the breakaway gap from a range, because sometimes never mind. There's just one example here. So this is a range break. You've got your range, then we break to the upside, and we bounce. Here's a Starbucks breakaway gap example with volume. Thank you, Sharif, for this one. You've got your trading range. Then Starbucks gets like a venti espresso to the upside. It pops higher, and now it's in a whole new area to the upside. Here's a LinkedIn breakaway gap. I didn't realize LinkedIn was publicly traded. New thing I learned today. This one just kind of chilling, casual uptrend. Then we see a bit of a volume spike, and we pipe higher in LinkedIn. So this one's unlinked from its old trend and linked in to a whole new trend, trying to work its way to the upside, well above its 50-day moving average. So let's take a look here at false breakouts, though, because sometimes the gaps can be misleading. The price might actually quickly reverse direction and create a false breakout or a fake out breakout, whatever name you want to call it. It exists, which is cool. So here are some methods to help you identify potential false breakouts. Limited follow through is going to be a huge sign, because if you've got the price kind of limp, it's struggling to maintain momentum after the breakaway gap and it fails to make new highs, or lows if you have a breakdown. This could be a signal of a weaker breakout. Low volume after the gap also as well. So if you've got less price action and lower volume, if you've got a surge in volume with most of your breakouts and then the volume fizzling after the breakaway gap's not going to be a good sign, right? That could indicate a lack of conviction behind the move. And you know you want your conviction or your confidence. So if the move you're looking at doesn't have that confidence, doesn't have that power behind it in volume or price action, the breakout might not be real, and it might be breaking your heart and not the chart.
That's not good.
Right? That's not fun.
No.
Confirmation from other indicators is great as well, because you want to see that confluence. You want to see all the indicators working together for the balance of the evidence before you enter your trade. So you might want to look for conflicting signals from technical indicators like moving averages, relative strength index, RSI, maybe MACD, I don't know. Whatever indicator you look at, whatever tickles your fancy, that might be worth noting, because if these indicators don't confirm the breakout, a false move is more likely. As Sharif always says, the balance of the evidence.
Oh, yeah.
If the evidence isn't there, maybe this breakout isn't either. So let's talk about some ways to trade with breakaway gaps strategically. So entry points are really important to look at. Breakaway gaps can offer potential entry points in the direction of the breakout, but waiting for a pullback after the gap for confirmation and to identify stronger entries can be prudent. You want as much confirmation as possible so you don't get lost in that sauce. What about stop loss placement? So breakaway gaps can often create new support or resistance levels, placing stop loss orders below the gap for long positions or above for short positions can help manage that risk. What about measured moves, though? You want to explore the concept of measured moves, which we actually talked about a while back. You can Google that on our YouTube. Shout out to 2 Alphabet products, I guess, all in one fell swoop. But look into that videos because you could actually see measured moves based on breakaway gaps, which is a technique that can help measure the potential price targets based on the gap size. So here's one example here of a breakaway gap entry on a pullback. We have this move here. Then we have the pop up. And like, we're not always going to everything this textbook, but this is a gorgeous move. We pull back here. We bounce beautifully off that previous area of resistance. I call it here the flip zone because we flip from resistance to support. Great move up here for this breakaway gap example. But remember, they're powerful signals, but use them with caution, profit risk management, and a critical eye to avoid false breakouts. You don't want to get lost in the sauce. That's what we're trying to do here. Help you avoid getting lost in the sauce, navigate some of that sauce in these here markets. Shout out to MSauce for some reason. But if there's MSauce or any other ticker you want to, that's not the button I meant to press, get in the chat and vote. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy, get involved, get up in it. We want to see what you're looking at so that Sean and Neil can take a look and Sharif can gesticulate wildly on the green screen.
I swear I don't do that.
Well, it's because I said you stand.
I know
You're
you
like,
do.
I don't just stand and now I'm overcompensating. We will never win.
Yeah.
But Sharif will be there. If you're watching Sharif on the green screen with everybody, you are winning.
I promise
So
I
check
won't
that out.
gesticulate wildly. And, you know, if that upsets you, then I may do it. No, I'm just joking, of course, guys.
Whatever.
I'm short Apple here as it's below the VWAP. I know it put in a bit of a hammer candle and is trying to weasel its way above 225. My out is going to be pretty tight. I'm looking for it to reject off this level. But Gaurav brings a really good point. He's like, futures refusing to sink keeps wicking. You're not wrong, Gaurav. The thing is, though, it's putting in lower highs and lower lows. You're right in the fact that we're not getting that tanking. But look at this. I mean, look at these candles over here. What I see are lower wicks each successive time, all rejecting off the 10 exponential and continuing to make lows. So you're not wrong. It's not rejecting the zone, the entire area, but it definitely doesn't look bullish. I mean, I don't know. You could be right about that. We're not really doing anything on this Apple trade. It's trying to hold that general 225 area, but it keeps moving up into 225 and gets a bit of a sell. So I'm looking to wet my beak at 82s. My out on everything is going to be the break of the volume weighted average price. So if we do break and reclaim VWAP, that'll be the end of my trade there. So we'll keep tabs on that. I'm also keeping tabs on SPWR because this one, it's definitely got support at 102, but the range is boring me and lulling me to death. We could have got this one at 12s, was a little too, I don't know, exuberant. I didn't really take it at 12s. Could have taken it at 11s. Sorry, it didn't give me 12s. Could have taken it at 11s, but we didn't do that. Continued to hold it, and now it's kind of zigging and zagging a little bit here with a range established, it looks like, between 102 and 106, so a bit of a tougher look. Apple keeps coming into 225, and I'm unsure. Now the future's putting a gnarly green candle over here. We'll see if it sells off, but yeah, the trade is already established. I've already put my out on it, my stop. I've put my beak wetter. It does look like it will reclaim VWAP here. At least there is some buying coming in. We'll see if it's met with some selling. I'm also looking at some green candles. Woo! Jeez, that fly is nuts. Yeah, man, fly. I'm looking at some green candles here coming in on Meta and on Microsoft. Some good strength coming on both those names. Meta now above the volume weighted average price. We were talking about this one, doing the dance with VWAP about 10 minutes ago. It's now reclaimed it and passed it by some distance here. VWAP hanging out at 491.75. It's at 492.5. So good strength coming in for whatever reason on Meta. You also have this look over here on Softy reclaiming into the 10 exponential. Get it, Katina, man. Kill that thing. Yeah, so this one's coming into the 10 exponential here, MSFT. It's putting in some green candles as well. And it looks like I'm just on the verge of getting stopped out on Apple unless we get a nice little rejection off the volume weighted average price here as it weasels its way right back into above 25. So some strength coming in on the future and on the Mag 7 in general here. Tesla, I see also curling into the 20 exponential, but yeah, not really clearing it with any distance. What are you guys looking at in the chat? Let me know. Elon wants to know about Boeing join BA. So guys, get ready to look possibly at Boeing there. Our friend Elon in the chat wants to look at Boeing. We saw today. What headline did they have? They had a headline.
I feel like Boeing has a headline every other day. I don't remember what today's was.
Yeah, let me have a look. It might have been yesterday. No worries. The Qatar, thank you. The air show in Qatar. I know people are like, what's Qatar? I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying it a different way. I'm sorry, guys. Qatar. Boeing shares are trading higher after Qatar Airways announced an order of Yeah, I know, right? It's trolling me. An order of 20 more Boeing 777-9 passenger jets. Also, Macquarie Air France ordered 20 Boeing 737-8 MAX jets. So, yeah, Airbus did well at the show as well. I was reading it this morning. Seems to be a lot of demand for airplanes, but these airline carriers can't seem to turn a profit. So Neil and I were just kind of joking, shooting the breeze in the morning, and he's like, look, man, airlines are now utilities. These are loss leaders for general markets, and it kind of feels like that because the margins for these companies getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Now we only see them really making money off business class and premium economy, first, etc. Very, very tough to make money in economy. And I was talking to my old man about this, Adair. You don't have to concentrate with me or anything. I know you're in a trade, but
I'm okay. I want to hear.
I went to Egypt in 1992 with my sister. Guess how much I paid for my airplane in 92?
Like in U.S. dollars?
No, Canadian dollars.
Sorry, I don't know why I asked you this.
Close, Ram. I'm a little bit higher.
Oh, higher. 870?
850. Oh. Okay. And I got like a kid fare at the time. I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I went to Egypt last year. I paid $1,100. So you telling me, how are they doing that? You're telling me that the margins are so good, somehow they figured out costs? I don't think so. I think it's just generally cheaper to fly economy, and I don't think they're making much money on economy.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like there cannot be that kind of cost savings. And I don't know. I just find it to be such a bad business, but that's just my opinion there. All right, keeping a look here on Apple. I'm still looking to print. I'm looking for 82s here as my first beak wetter, but it's still holding up, and I really don't have anything else to say at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's wild that the prices have changed that much.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's. That is certainly not a fun time, that's for sure. Sock sell, I got socked in the face on the short. I tried the long. I have some qualms about the long, but basically why I liked it was, okay, so we were below the 90 MA. We were like rejecting. I was like, oh, take the short. Then I flipped. Don't know what that voice was. Then I got out because we went into 40s. I got long though because we were holding 40s decently at the time. No longer holding 40s, still having higher lows here in the book. If we break out of that pattern, that's when I'm gonna have to leave. But we got to like 50, 30. Like we haven't been below 50, 30s is really what I'm trying to say, right? We're pushing higher here. You guys know what kind of trades I'm comfortable taking on the sock sell type names. If you don't, I am very comfortable getting in and out of this position just to skosh. I don't have huge size in this, but I have enough shares that I can kind of whittle my position away to the upside, to the downside. But downside, I don't mean obviously don't want to lose them in the long, but I'll definitely add if I keep seeing bouncing. My first profit taking area, I like 56s. I know that's like 13 pennies in the money. Unlucky 13. But no, that's 15 pennies. Adara math. 15 pennies in the money here because I got involved at 41s. But you know what? I don't mind taking smaller positions or smaller wins because I'm really trying to learn. I'm not focusing on the P&L as much as I'm focusing on the progress and learning. Hiding the P&L, I think, has really helped with the trade decisions. So that's always good as well. Let's see what we do here on SOXL. Spotify has had a spot on my side chart all day. Oh, yes, SOXL, get cooking. Okay, I'm just smiling to myself. But let's take a look here at Spotify. I guess you're not smiling to yourself when you say it out loud. But yeah, Spotify here bouncing off the 90 MA, higher highs, higher lows. I like the look of this. I want to see what we do at 330s because it's a whole dollar level. But my bigger area I like is 331s. I talked about 331s. I took the short on 331s earlier. That was such an area here of previous support, which then once we got below it, that's when that huadunk and that sell-off really happened. So I'm really curious to see what we do here on SPOT to see what music Spotify will be singing. We'll be singing a long song. We'll be singing to the Bulls. We'll be singing to the Bears. Let's find out here. Nike. We looked at oh, wow, Nike. Nike, every time it's like, oh, I'm going to make a base. I'm going to really fly now. Shout out to Rocky. I'm going to move higher. It cannot do that. We get to 74s. I mentioned this like back at 11:30. I was like, oh, we're trying to hold 74s. We kind of do try to hold 74s. Then we wick here to 74.10s. So many topping tail candles to the downside. Those candles got burned out or wicked out in this case. Then we try to, again, see a little bit of support here now at 73.60s. Higher highs, higher lows. I keep saying that. It's a fun word. Keep projecting the 90 MA here. Yeah, Nike, not a great look here. This one keeps running to the downside. Stocks L, please make up your mind. I would love to know if I want to stay in you because I don't like staying in these stocks for this long. And Stocks L, being a little bamboozling here at 40s. I probably just should have wicked out, not wicked out, words. Should have probably scalped out here for 10 pennies, but we're seeing some higher lows. I might have to babysit my semiconductors here. Stocks L itself, especially as AMD looks like it's climbing higher, NVIDIA looks like it's climbing higher. Stocks L, can you follow your friends, please? Thank you very much. But yeah, I'm going to stay in that position when I'm like 5-6 pennies out of the money. It's more just the principle of the thing that has me a little bit nervous here. So let's see what we do here on the Stocks L, see if we can pull those stocks up and run back to the upside. Shout out to
All right. We just took 30 pennies on Apple, waiting for, looking for a bit of more of a down move over here. Now that we've rejected 225, or at least it seems a little bit, because we keep wicking into 225 from the south side and rejecting it. So, you know, I mean, if this is not what I need to see, then what the hell do I need to see? I mean, because this is very bearish for me. We use VWAP as a very clear area of support. Initially, we have that kind of support flip to resistance. We give up the ghost and we start wicking at it from the south side. So it's like, yeah, I'm seeing everything I need to see, but I wasn't printing. So now I'm going to hold what I've got remaining here. I'd like a little bit more. Now, if we can get something like 224s, even better. So I'm just going to hold this here to see if I can wet my beak, knowing that there likely is support at 60, 224.60, owing to this candle over here. We're printing 67s now. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower on the dead one, Apple. I'm pleased this punch with this trade. Here we go, 65 just showed up, and now we get a bit of a bid. Unsurprising, because we know that there was price action support at 61. But I still think this is a pretty decent down move here, and I don't think the down move is exhausted. Here comes low 60s, baby. Give me that money. Let's get a little bit lower, and then we pop up into the 70s again, so I'm probably going to have to calm myself down a little bit. Yeah, I'd like to print something in the mid-50s if that's possible over here. Trading gods, if you are listening, there we go. Now we're showing a little bit there in the low 60s. Let's see if we can print. There we go. We'll get that 61 print. Pleased as dang punch on this trade over here on the dead one, Apple. Now you can go back up, Apple. Everything's good now. So shout out. I want to address Rick, because Rick was dropping hot lines, and I think he's absolutely right. He's commenting with respect to my airplane little soliloquy that I did there. They are reducing leg space given in airlines and replacing that leg space with additional seats. Also, they are charging more for carry-on luggage. You're absolutely right in everything that you say, but I'm pretty sure I was a smaller guy than I was now at 42 years old than I was at 10. And I remember the seats being pretty tight back then too. So that's one thing. Second thing is, we all know on international flights, they don't charge you for carry-ons and stuff. You usually have to pay for a checked bag, depending on which ticket you got. But yeah, your point is well taken. I know that there's additional things that they're charging for. I think Adam as well chimed in on that. Adam was saying, you know, airlines will make money by selling branded items online and possibly buying oil during COVID. I love that, Adam. Shout out to you, buying oil, because it was a negative. Who remembers when oil went negative and they actually had to pay people in order to store it because there's no demand for it? That probably may not happen again in quite some time. So anyway, please this dang punch on this Apple trade, Adair. Let's now have a look at the debacle that, thank you, I appreciate you. SPWR back into that 106 area. Let's see, 107s. Let's go SPWR. I don't even know the ticker properly. We're going to wet our beaks here at 110 because we couldn't get anything at 112 where the players dwell. So we're going to hang out here. If we can get a little bit of a de-risk at the 110 area, I would be very happy. I'm also looking at my side chart here, and I see that Meta is, you know, basically strong. Contrary to all the other Mag 7 names today, it's, I believe, the only one Google is above the volume weighted average price too. Okay, but Meta and Google above the volume weighted average price, but Google's done nothing on the day. Meta's down 1.16 and recovered nicely off that 489.50 that we put in a few minutes ago. Now we're printing 493s. The Zuck train putting in higher lows and looking possibly to touch high a day at 495 and a fifth. So good look for META as, I said it was down 1.19. I meant up 1.19. I apologize about that, misspoke. So keeping an eye on Meta, obviously, because there's plenty of strength there. Let's look at the small cap gappers, see which ones are still tradable. AZTR broke down below VWAP. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Very similar look on SLRX, top of each other there on the left side of your screen. They're both breaking down aggressively. So is ADIL. What a retracement that is. Touches 3, and that was as good as it was going to get there. Now trading at $1.45. KNSA is really the only one that continues to give you that higher high, higher low look. It found a bit of a top, though, triple top right here at that 27 2/3. Interesting look. This one could start coming back down. We're going to have to keep tabs on this one. It's been in love with the 20 exponential on the 5 for the deeper retracements. If this gives up the ghost on the 20 exponential on the 5 on a closing basis, this we could easily see this drip down into VWAP or that 26 area, even deeper. KNSA, very spready, and it's not a small cap gapper, by the way. I should let you know that I think it's almost a $2 billion stock here. PCT continuing to go as well. It's also respecting the 20 exponential on the 5. The majority of the prints obviously held up at 10. Then we do this sideways consolidation from 1 o'clock onwards. So the better part of half an hour now, we've been kind of consolidating here a little, 720, 717 the high, 710 the low. So really tight range here, finding itself on PCT. So we'll keep an eye on those bad boys. Let's flip back. There we go, Adara. Now we got the print on SPWR. So I moved down my beak wetter a little bit from 12s where the players weren't dwelling, and they were dwelling at 10. So ended up being good there. We'll take a beak wetter there and we'll look for a bit more. Rick, just saw someone place option block order on Apple future for 17 million. Jeez. Shout out to Rick. Thank you for that piece. Well, he retracted it. Rick, why'd you retract it? I don't know. I said G's, and then Captain Protein over here thought I said cheese. So we just went with it, Katina.
He's got protein on the brain.
Oh, I like that.
I thought it's because you're a Green Bay Packers fan.
Wow, the Katina man's trolling me hard. He's like, I thought it was because you're a Green Bay Packer fan all of a sudden. We know his second favorite team is the Cowboys, but not for the reason you may expect. It's because he keeps beating us, Adara. So he's so happy with the matchup between the Cowboys and the Packers that keep getting the better of us that it's caused him to actually like my team.
I remember
that.
How
disrespectful is that?
I actually do know that because the Dallas Cowboys show has a whole episode, because I watched the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show, and there's a whole episode where they're really depressed because the Packers won and they couldn't go to the next level, and all these girls are like crying. They're like,
of course,
it's by the Green Bay Packers. I know it is. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm just saying that's why I remember.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
That's a great show. I got to start watching that. What is it called again?
It's called America's Sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I found it to be really fascinating, but yeah, also fascinating is this NVIDIA chop and churn.
Ram likes that too. We should.
Ramin also did like it. Sorry, I meant to shout that out. Ramin and I were talking about it. We're like, oh my gosh, did you see it? But yeah, it's a good show, guys. There's some football, there's some dance. It's got a little bit of everything for everyone. Also, NVIDIA. I took a scalp long and a scalp short on this, profitable on both. Please just punch. There's a weird 5-10 penny range on this. It's getting tighter though, which is why I'm staying away from it. Basically, I realized I was able to have better levels in NVIDIA than I was in stocks L. I took not one, but 2 stocks L's in each direction here on this stock. I like the long. In retrospect, not probably a great level to get long. Ended up getting out. I initially tried the short. I think the blue triangle is probably basically the same place. Lost on both trades, was like Adara, trying to find something else here. The NVIDIA chop and churn was kind of interesting to me, but another semiconductor stock I've been looking at here is going to be AMD. Why have I been looking at AMD? Well, AMD here, decisively below the 90 MA. We're really trying to break down below this 155. We're holding 155 pretty well. I don't want to get short right here at 155. If we get back to 10s or 15s and reject, that's the level I've been more comfortable with as of late. Hydration Nation. That being said, if we really, if we decide we want to reject 155.05s, I have no qualms about starting a position there, keeping my eyes on it. I think this is going to break down, but I don't want to take the trade because I think it is. I want to have a little bit more confluence. Speaking of breaking down, though, Spotify, this is music to my ears or to my eyes. Whoa, Spotify. We're below the 90 EMA here. We're this previous area of support resistance flip-flop here, that 328.50. It was an interesting area in the book. The spread on this has been a little bamboozling. If we can get back to 328.50 and then we reject, look at that beautiful topping tail candle. You know who wants smoke on that? I do. Also, if there's any stocks you want smoke on or you want reads on, anyone's take on, you want to see how the big kahunas traded it or would have traded it, what levels they like, get involved in the chat, !, join space, $, whatever ticker you like. Maybe it's Meta, maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's Tesla or Google. They're both reporting tonight. Maybe you want to see what Sean and Neil have to say about that. Also check out Sean with Brian Shannon and I. Brian Shannon. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Sean didn't like that one. My bad. Sorry. But yeah, Brian Shannon and Sean and I will be on. Sorry about that pun. On the market recap, and we will be giving you some hotlines, hopefully, on some Tesla earnings. So that'll be a good look. Speaking of Tesla, I'm just waiting for my Spotify to do things because I'm not even in it yet. Tesla. I was just going to go to the washroom, and now you do this, Tesla? Come on, man. You know you're involved in the markets when you just sit and stare at these stocks all day long. This 247, chop and churn, chop and eternity. I want to see what we do here at 247s. I'm okay going short. There seems to be a lot of confluence for said short. That 247.20, 247.10, this area, deeply fascinating. I'd like to see us retest 247 because patience, sometimes, you know, you can pay with patience. I don't even make that one up. Bears versus Bulls does that one a lot, shout out. But I like Tesla here. This could be a look. What looks are you looking at? Is SunPower still powering you up?
It's retracing a little bit of Adair. Found resistance at $110, printing 108 now. Big Spile sent me a picture on the gram there that I can't repost there. But Big Spile, that was traumatizing, put it that way. It's
what?
Yeah, it's no, I can't, Katina, man. It does a disservice to my team. I only control. No, Big Spile's got it. It's basically disrespecting the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders there. Shout out to Big Spile. Always the funniest guy, man. And I love his messages always. Shout out to Big Spile. All right, let's get back to business over here because, well, look what Apple did. Let's get back into this one because I want to talk about it. So there is obviously something afoot with this 225 area, but it seems like a range. Like literally we got in at 225, then got out almost bottom wake there at 60s, and then it weasels its way right back into 225. So now I'm a little confused. I mean, it's just going to be a range where 225 is at the top end of the range, and then we continue to make lower lows? Because that looks like what we're doing here on Apple. Every incremental kind of wick is lower than its predecessor, with 225 generally being that area top. Now, I had my stop. I didn't say this to you guys at the time, but look, when I was short Apple, I had my stop at 225.11. So if it went 1 penny above 10s or 2 pennies because it has to cross, I would have been out. And look at that. There was definitely a seller at 10s because it never crossed above 10s. So keeping an eye on that. Randy, what's he up to over there? Ram, look what he's doing. Get it again, Randy. Do it again. There you go. Shadowboxing. Love this guy.
Are you seeing any news on this HA? HA. Has there been
what is that?
This
Hawaiian Airlines. Okay, here it is. I don't see anything, Adara, but there's something afoot here.
Thank you, Day Trader Cut, for telling us about this big volume spike there to the downside for HA. To be clear, though, they've basically been down all day, so it's not like this is a massive change in trend. It is, however, definitely a massive change in, velocity for HA. This one opened here around, where do we open? Around like
unusual.
14s, and we've traded sharply lower here. We're going to keep an eye on HA for you guys. Thank you, Day Trader Cut, for letting us know about that. I'm trying to get filtered in Spotify. Tesla, though, breaking down a bit as well. Tesla, where's my book on Tesla? Oh, there it is. It's going to be like, Tesla, where'd you go? But yeah, Tesla here, still trying to break down. I want to be starting a short position here. If we kind of stay below these 20s, I am interested. Happy I waited because it would have wicked up, or did wake up, and I would have panic sold. So let's see what we do here. TSLA, trying to get filled Spotify, I know initially said 328.50s. As Neil sometimes says, you want sometimes ranges for price entry, not hard levels. I like Spotify around 328, so I didn't mean to cut you off with that ha there. Sure.
No, that's way more important. Look at that thing tank. I mean, we all know that it had a bit of a debacle with JetBlue, Hawaiian Airlines. No, that was Spirit. Forget what I was saying. I think there was another. Who was Hawaiian trying to merge with? Does anybody remember? Was it a bigger carrier? It was Alaska. Yes, it was Hawaiian and Alaska because of West Coast.
Yeah.
So sorry. Damn, Adara. That's harsh there, Adara.
No, I meant because they're the later states. They're the 49th and 50th.
I know. I'm just gotta troll you. Rams piling on back there. But yeah, JetBlue, Alaskan and Hawaiian were talking about merging. Then the Lena Khan effect came into place, and that was the end of that. All right, so I wet my beak there at 111.5. I could have gotten 112s or 114s. This one is going, so SPWR on the way up. That $1 trade does end up working out. Shout out to Neil who explained this trade to me back in the day, because it absolutely did. When you clear that $1 area with some vigor, you come back and you observe to see, are the buyers going to step in there and keep this bad boy afloat above a buck? And in this case, I would submit to you they did. There was very, very brief time where we were below $1 and we seemed to, double bottom essentially off 98 pennies and trend higher. So we're definitely not at the high of day right now on SPWR. That would be around $123.5, but we're at that $114. That can't be true. That can't be true. Neil is trying to catch the fly with chopsticks. He's right there.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on a second.
In honor of the new
Get it, Neil.
season.
Get it, Neil.
I absolutely swear to you, I had it by the wing and it just slipped out. I've never done, in my whole life, I've tried this before with the chopsticks. I've never gotten to fly with chopsticks. Obviously, Mr. Miyagi styles right there, but that was this close. I wish the camera was on.
I believe you.
You gotta be kidding me. I had that sucker. We're gonna get that fly today. We're gonna get that fly. Katina almost had him with like his 3D not the 3D glasses, but the what were those glasses again? They're the ones from the Eclipse.
The Eclipse glasses.
Yeah, the Eclipse glasses. I got these. We have nothing to roll up or anything like that. Oh, this guy's gonna get it. All right, back to you guys. Go Hawaiian Electric apparently, and go stocks.
Appreciate you, Neil. There, that's that's interesting. I love that's what's it called? Karate Kid stuff right there. All right, so what was I saying? Yeah, Big Spal. He's so funny. Big Spal's like, bro, how are they gonna run power lines from Alaska to Hawaii? Because I called the airlines utilities.
Oh yeah.
Right. I love this. Big Spal is always so literal. Shout out to him. I had something to say and I completely lost my train of thought, but that's okay. What are you looking at? You have a couple of positions there.
Well, I don't know. We're not gonna be celebrating this right now, yeah. But I don't know. That was not English. Catch me outside. How about that? That felt like when I just said that. But yeah, I like that. Neil was doing the chopsticks. We do have the new Cobra Kai season that just came out. Apparently, it's coming in 3 parts. So that is the continuation show of the Karate Kid. So it's kind of interesting timing. That's when we're doing the chopstick fly catching. But yeah, Ramin's saying she's never seen the fly. I am jealous of that because I can say I've certainly seen him. He's been buzzing around. But Spotify buzzing around here. What's the buzz on Spotify? I should have waited here a little bit. I got involved at 328.50s. I want to see what we do here on the book. I do not want to see us bounce off this level. It looks like we are bouncing. I may have to leave this. Tesla, meanwhile, this is the other name of my blotter. Tesla, happy I got it where I did, lost like 20 pennies. It's just a little bit unfortunate. We did have a bit, I would even like to have my blotter up because I don't want to be seeing, the P&L, but I have it up in this case just to make sure that nothing goes too awry when it comes to risk. Just because this Spotify did get a little rough. Should have had much better eyes on this. I got a little bit distracted with my Tesla, and that is very much my bad on that. We're going to be getting out of this trade. Got out of Spotify as we popped above that 329. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Things happen. Things work out or they don't work out in this case. And you have to learn because that's the thing. It's like the market does not care about your feelings. You got to keep going, keep pushing. That was unfortunate. Unfortunate, if you will, because it was a short. And I should have seen this higher low that we had. My take was like, oh, well, we broke below. We're below that area of support. Oh, whatever. It's like, no, Adara, you should have waited for like 329, 329.50. It's all good, though. I still have eyes on Tesla for some scalp opportunities, if you will. And I'll still make puns. You got to still make puns when in doubt, pun. Here's Neil with his chopsticks at the ready. Oh, meta.
What is happening?
Oh, meta. This 493. Rejection. Support. Top and churn. I don't know what we're doing here, but this 493 in Meta, interesting. I learned, though, from my spready names, Spotify, so I want to be careful what I do here on this. What a market. Vicky Novak saying there's a Refrain ventriloquism because of all the hand actions. Yeah, I have no idea there. I don't know. I think I run my mouth too much for the ventriloquism there because I think ventriloquism, you've got to keep your mouth pretty calm. But, oh, Neil, Mr. Miyagi.
What'd you get? You got him?
I got frustrated.
Oh, he didn't, so he didn't. Chopstick the fly.
That's okay.
Oh, okay. Ramin wants proof. Ramin says corpse or it didn't happen. Let's see how that goes. That's not actually what she said, but yeah, shout out to Ramin. Her going choo-choo when Sharif said he lost his train of thought made me laugh out loud and lose my train of thought.
Oh, wow.
So, shout out to Ramin and Fabian, who is not here right now. Ramin holding it down on her own. Tesla popping up here. I am going to... Yeah, no, we're just going to say, I was going to run to the bathroom, but we've got 12 minutes left. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. Vicky Novak saying I was talking with my mouth closed. I don't even remember doing that. That's pretty cool. Good times. Yeah, sometimes talk out the side of my mouth. The market's always giving you exactly what they want to do here. I was trying to make a transition there. I couldn't. Keeping an eye on some stuff. I don't have any reads on anything right now. This was not a great day, but what the great thing about the market is it's open every weekday, and you have more opportunities to try to conquer it.
Absolutely.
That's how you got to view things.
All right, I'm short Meta here, and I may be in some trouble. So we put in a top on Meta, and we started putting in these topping tail candles with incrementally lower highs and lower lows. And so I got short, and that all changed. So we'll see. Now, if we break 33s, my out is 493.33s. I'm looking for this one to curl a little bit back down. This could be trouble for me over here. I have a price of 85. We're printing 99, so 15 pennies out of the money. But you know the spread on this is right now, it's about 15 pennies, wider at times. So my first beak wetter is in the low end of this range at 72s. So this could be some trouble for me over here. We'll see what we get. The future is curling back up, so I don't like this trade. I think that I'm going to be in some trouble on this one as I'm looking at the NQ September contract, and it's weaseling its way back up into local highs. Still very much in a range on the NQ September contract, but it's definitely putting in higher lows, and that has me in trouble here with Meta, and we're awfully close to getting stopped out as it is near the range high. So if it weasels its way up a little bit higher, that is going to be the end of said trade. So this will be like my first negative name on the day, which is fine, but this trade likely will put me negative if I do get stopped out, and that's okay. That's just kind of the way that trading is. So keeping an eye right now on Meta, looking to see whether it curls back down at these levels or what's going on over there, Randy? Randy, you ready for the Tesla earnings?
Oh, yeah.
Any expectations that we can communicate? Anything that you've been hearing?
I want to see Cybertruck numbers.
Cybertruck numbers he wants to see?
I want to see Highland numbers and China numbers.
Sorry?
Highland numbers.
What are Highland?
The update.
Oh,
The newer model, the refresh.
I didn't even know that was called Highland. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was called the refresh.
Chinese
Okay.
production registration.
And Chinese production registration. So that's it. Now I'm out of, well, I haven't got triggered out yet, and I'm wondering why I haven't got triggered out. Sorry, Randy. Of Meta, but that's it. I'm just going to get out here, and that's a bad hit for me. That is one of the biggest. Yeah, that put me negative on the day. So a little disappointed with that. That's the way trading is. Look to take the top end of the range, and that did not work out. Meta continues to put in higher highs and higher lows. So a bit of a tougher trade there. Puts me negatory on the day after having a decent day. Not bad. But yeah, that is the trade that kind of sealed the deal for me there. A couple of minutes left, and then I will make my way up into the green screen and see what you guys wanted to vote for. The voting is now closed, though. No more voting as that cuts off at 1:50, but I'm sure it probably have something to do with chips, as that always find its way on to the top there.
Chips, maybe some Google or Goog. Goog doesn't get a lot of love. It'll be Google. But ahead of earnings, maybe some TSLA. They want to know about the Highland. And shout out to Randy for giving his take because he knows everything about EVs. As we know, he's putting the EV in everything.
There you go.
But yeah, okay, we are actually in the money here in Amazon. I say actually because this has been a bit of a day for me in terms of just decisions that were kind of meh, but Amazon anyway, a decent read on. I like that we have these lower highs. I like that we're rejecting the 90 MA. day. Took out a cool 6 pennies in the money with 40% of the position. Okay, Amazon, let's get that express delivery. Let's get some more downside. I would not like to see us bounce off 187 any further. I will say, I do not love that look. If we just got up to like 187.15s and rejected, if we can do that again, I will add, now that I've de-risked some of the position, I had a bit of a larger, a meatier position here because, you know, we talk a lot about confidence. If you're feeling, or confidence in general, confirmation, confluence, if you're seeing stuff you like, if you've got that balance of the evidence working for you, sometimes you got to play it. Now, is there a little bit of support here at this area? For sure, this 186.70. But right now, we're not even below 187. We are continuing to see lower highs. Like I said, I will feel more confident if we get a nice, decisive break below 187. But there's nothing to get me out of this position yet. I just took a little piece out because you guys know what I'm like. I like to scalp. But Amazon, let's give some more scalp here. You know, I've talked about scalpulation and scalpulating, and I haven't done enough of that lately. Shout out to you, Spotify. But let's keep going here on this market because that's what you got to do. The market gives you opportunities when your P&L goes down. To shout out the Timbaland reunion song with Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake last week. You just got to keep going up with your mindset and keep working every single day. AMZN, if you make another lower high here in the book, like 187.13, par example, I will probably add to this position. I want to get, I don't know why I'm French now, but I want to see this Amazon push to the downside. Can't believe only 7 minutes left, Sharif. What a day this has been on these here markets. I want to shout out your Apple and SunPower trades, though, for sure.
I appreciate you. Yeah, those were good trades. Sadly, they were outdone by one trade, and that's really kind of how trading is. Managing risk, super important. Thought I saw something on Meta, didn't see it, was wrong, so now we're stopped out. Literally got out top wick, but I feel like this is probably going to weasel its way up a little bit here as we're seeing some strength coming on now on the futures. So for the first time, we're breaking above that 20 exponential. We're still not nearly at that 20,000 point level. We're still negative on the day on the NQ September contract, marginally though, 0.12, but you're kind of seeing that base form generally at that 19,009 1/3 where we based out. Now we're at 3/4. We could be weaseling up into that 85 point area, 88 point area. That's where VWAP is. Above that, we have the 20,000 point area, which is the closing print from yesterday. So, excuse me. Good strength coming in on these markets, and you're seeing some green candles come in on Google and Meta. I'm not really seeing much in many other names really have any strength on them at the moment. Google seems to be at that 183 top. This is interesting here on Google. Sorry to digress a little bit from the futures to Google, but Google's been rejecting 183 essentially since 10:25 this morning. So there's definitely been a range here on Google. Now, it's not the speediest of the bunch. It sometimes hangs out there. So as much as I'd like to take this, I can't because I'm going to be up at the big screen for in a minute. So Google 183, interesting, but I do like the curl back here on the futures, but you're not seeing that really reciprocated a lot on the Mag 7 names, this curl back up. So maybe an anemic top here or an anemic retracement, I should say, to move to the high side. Looking at some of these small cap gappers here, we were singing the praise of PCT, saying that this one was holding up quite well. It's still not bad. It's still holding up that 705 consolidation area top. That's from the morning. That one doing okay. KNSA is not small cap gapper. It's almost a $2 billion market cap. It's been holding the 20 exponential essentially, but really hasn't been able to put any new highs since 1215. That would be 27 2/3 for KNSA HOD for that level. So those are the small cap gappers that I was looking at. I feel like we're curling back up here on the future. And as I say that, we just touched the volume weighted average price at 19,987. Now let's see if we can weasel our way up into 20,000. And if we do, is that the line in the sand? Or is there more of a retracement to the high side here? Time will tell. The afternoon will unfold. And obviously, the big kahunas will be taking you through the power hour. Let you know how that one's trading, Adara. So I'll send it to you, and I'll see everybody up in a few minutes at the big screen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharif. Of course, as always, for everything you do for preparing the lesson. You're going to see him in his green shirt on the green screen. And in just a few minutes there, with the top tickers, the big kahunas will be big kahuna-ing. And yeah, I did turn a noun into a verb there. We're going to see them look at some tickers for you. They're going to take you through Power Hour. This has not been a powerful day here for me. That's one really thing though with the market is you could have, I had a good day on Friday. Last 2 days have not been my days. And it's like, what are you doing differently? Well, I have been taking some spreadier names. We had that Spotify trade. Just because something works out on one day, I had, some success with those on Friday does not mean it's going to work out always. You have to take trades on the balance of the evidence and on the merit. Spotify, I definitely let that song play for a little bit too long here in that second short. Should have waited for more confidence. Should have been actually shorting this move to the downside, right? Instead of waiting till what happened here, right? I think that's one thing you really want to be cognizant of. Things can work one time, and that might be the only time that they work. So just a shout out to One Time for Your Mind by Nas. I think that's definitely, that lesson is going to be on my mind. Like I said, I've been doing some journaling. I've been really trying to cognitively reflect, especially since going live. You want to make sure, why did these trades work out? Why didn't they work out? And what can I learn from them? Amazon, this short here too, I was able to take some profit at, but it's like Adara. I said, I don't like how we're like holding 187. Then get out at 187, right? The trades that were the most successful for me today were the ones that were scalpier, like when we had that big move down in the market around 12:30, 12:45. So I think that's something you have to reflect on. I think that's one thing that's really important. I'm going to stop, yapping now, but I think if you can learn every day, I think that is something. Learn until you see the progress and learning reflected in your P&L and your profit and loss. What's everyone else looking at? I want to take a look at PGHL before we, oh, wow, this IPO has been quite the looker. That's a weird term to use. This one was really interesting. We talk about a Christmas tree retracement. We just saw Randy over there, and we have this Christmas tree retracement with these green and red candles. This one has been such a halter. PGHL was an IPO from today. They were initially thought to open around $4, ended up opening here, though, at $5.60 before immediately gapping down. This one high of $9.55, low of $3.66. This has kind of been the small gap runner IPO style, but volume on this, not great. Only about 2.34 million shares, so not huge volume. What is anyone else looking at here as we head into the day? We got 45 seconds left. Siri, says Ricky Peters. I don't have to ask Siri to look at this. I'm just going to type it up. Shout out to Jay Lee, long PGHL. Yeah, I mean, if it's a type of trade you're comfortable playing with the holds, I would say shout out to you. Serious. Oh, this is beautiful. This is an interesting look. We have this 376 high. We have a wick up here. Then we bounce off of 370. A little bit of chop and churn, resistance support flip-flop. Lower high, huadunk a little bit. But we bounce here. Oh, and with the wick basis, we bounced that previous support area around the 90 EMA, 366. Can you say confluence? I say confluence on this. Then we push up higher, and we reject at that support we found around 90 EMA at 374. Tons of support. Weird adherence to the 90 EMA for me on SIRI, so that's a great look. But right now, we're going to move into that end. I've got distracted by the chart there. Sorry, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Sharif at the green screen.
Welcome, guys, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about on the Afternoon Rundown. We got Neil and Sean. They're locked, they're loaded, they're